Three, two, one. We're doing it live. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are on this planet, whatever the case may be. Welcome to Saturday Night Drive-In. Tonight, drama, controversy, betrayal. The betrayal part is there's no drama or controversy.
I was like, oh, okay, here we go.
Max.
I'm excited.
Hello, Max.
It's the cat. He's the dramatic one.
The drama. He's also the betrayer.
There is some weird drama online, though. There is some weird drama in.
Is there?
Did you hear about the Jake Parker stuff?
Oh, the what's the word? Where he steals other people's stuff.
Yeah, the plagiarism controversy.
Plagiarism. That's the word I was looking for. Yeah, I heard about that. That's kind of dirty dog. Because
yeah,
you know what? I met Jake. I was next to him at a whole con one time, and seemed like a very nice, affable fellow. I didn't seem like I don't know him well enough to be like, there's no way that guy would ever do it. But
yeah, I mean, I saw. I'm in the middle of. I saw a review of it from that guy you told me about. The guy that caused you some trouble on Discord, but but he talked about it.
We won't mention him. Too much drama.
Too much drama mean. But anyway, he talked about it, and this other guy, I'm looking at the video right here. He's the one, he references his video of it as well.
I saw it on Clownfish.
Huh?
I saw it on Clownfish.
Oh well, I'm watching the video now from the actual guy from Alfonso Dunn, his commentary about what he thought happened to his book. And whoa.
Now we're looking at each other.
Oh yeah, there you go. There you go. So, apparently, man, it's like I saw some of the evidence there, and I'm like, it's got to be a misunderstanding somewhere. But the more I see it, the more like, man, even the layout of the book itself in some cases.
That's what got me. Hey, let me introduce Roland Mann, which now I'm not sure if this square thing's going to work if we keep bringing more people on, but
yeah, I'm really close in here, but
yeah. We're like all giant heads.
I gotta figure out where.
My cat keeps knocking up against stuff.
Yeah,
how you doing, Roland?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Here, I'll just move you over there. There you go. All the way up. Yeah, well, your audio. You sound like you're talking through a 1940s like RCA.
Got one of these little things, but it doesn't.
I bet your audio's not going through that mic.
I bet.
Go to camera mic and make sure you're on your snowball.
Snowball. What happens if I disable audio process?
It sounds like we're in the middle of a Doctor Who episode.
Whoa! What'd you do?
Is that better?
That is better.
Okay, there's a little selection there. It says disable audio processing. Oh my god! That's what I did.
All right. Well, now bring your snowball closer to your face, like this. It's got to be right.
If I do that, I can't type.
Oh. It's happening again.
Yeah.
You know what?
Is this a green screen you got behind you? And now he's frozen in time somehow.
It's okay. It's all part of the process.
It's a little bit of Can you hear me better now?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Now I'm using the stupid mic on my laptop. What the heck?
Oh, technology. Yeah, Jay Hamilton, you did sound like a Dalek for a minute there.
Oh no. So the screen behind me is kind of a green screen, but see, I'll reveal to you what it is. It's comic boxes.
Oh,
right.
And my wife, she thinks they're ugly when I stream.
So now you have a green screen.
So we've got this big green screen and hang it up behind me so we can hide my comic boxes. And I tried to tell her, I'm like, comic boxes aren't ugly to comic fans. They're beautiful.
No.
Oh,
they are. I need some myself.
And she says, no, they're ugly. You need to get new boxes or hang up a screen. So we hung up a screen.
Yeah. It
works.
works.
You know what? That's why I don't know if you can generally see it here.
I know you're.
I put my artwork up in front of my disastrous closet. So
Oh, is that what that is?
yeah.
Well, and I know too. Over your left shoulder, you've got like a little gaming area where your sons.
No. Those are work computers. This is an office.
Oh, okay.
This is an office, and if the IRS ever asks,
no, yeah.
those are work computers.
Your sons are. I see your sons frequently working on the computers over there.
Well, here's the thing. I'm a creative, right? So it's important that I am in touch with the culture of entertainment.
True.
And therefore, I need my children doing research and development.
I absolutely agree.
On what is popular in entertainment today.
My head looks really big on my screen.
Some would call that a salt mine, Michael.
I need to
salt mine?
Like the Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
Yeah.
They're
I'm
back
sorry.
there mining.
I pretend like that movie doesn't exist because it's just bad.
No, I say thee nay.
Face.
I say thee nay.
Hey, you know what? Let me say a little howdy do, and then we'll get back to the drama. The drama.
The drama.
Let's say hi to everybody who's popping in here. P Money Kung Flu Kitty. Matt C. Bianca Fights the Zombies. Jeff Potts. Ray Thulu. R2D2 for Life. Kiwi Comics.
R2D2.
What's up? Kalaya Payat Night.
R2D2 for
Jalapeno
life.
Milk. Jay Hamilton. Did I say that already? I'm not sure. I'm doing a lot of scrolling, so I'm not sure. Jiminy Cricket says, this is not the triple feature I expect at the drive-in. Well, sorry.
Tis what it is.
It absolutely is what it is.
You got this mug. Right here. No bueno.
Our Arabic friend over there.
Yeah.
I get it all the time.
Brian Saucer, not sure if we said that. Gary Shipman, hello. Gary, I can send you the link if you like, buddy.
Yeah. The
And
water.
anyone else I missed, I do apologize, but welcome one and all. Thank you for being here. Like and share for tonight's episode. Drama, controversy, betrayal.
See, I brought it up, the other story, and it actually works for your title.
I know. You messed me up because it was going to be drama, controversy, and the betrayal was that there was no drama or controversy. But then you brought up the drama, which is actually controversial.
Actual controversy and drama, yeah.
I'm going to have to take betrayal off.
And betrayal. Well, and there's some betrayal there, though. There's some betrayal.
Oh,
that's what they're claiming.
True.
You know, even my buddy Tom Bancroft got into the conversation. A bunch of people did.
Tell me. All right, Elliot.
I know Tom. Tom's a good guy.
Elliot.
Yes.
You have the floor.
Well, okay. So apparently, Jake Parker is putting out a book based on his. Gosh, you know, it's funny too. I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus. This is just the news, right? Jake Parker is putting out a book that's related to his Inktober annual event.
Yep.
About a year.
The guy who owns the term.
Yeah, he owns it. He started the whole movement and bought the.
Right.
He actually owns the trademark now because he wanted to put out a book relating to it. And there's been some other kinds of weird misconception, but the interesting video I watched actually discussed not just the event but also the real problem is the fallout, like how everyone's responding to it and how people are jumping to conclude just the same thing we've been dealing with for months and years now with the way the culture is set up and the way people get information, they get tribal and they start to defend each other. But if you just look at the facts, apparently he in some of the elements of his book so far, because it hasn't come out yet, it comes out in September, sometime I think September 15th, this month. In a few days, that's Tuesday, yeah. So so the book comes out, and Alfonso Dunn wrote another book that he's claiming he wrote this book I think a couple of years. I've seen his book around a lot. Alfonso is the one that wrote a separate book called gee whiz, what's it called? Pen and Ink, some techniques or something like that. And I hate to say it, but and I don't believe there's some further conversation that an IP lawyer expressed that maybe some of the similarities that are clear are pretty evident may have been because the publisher who tried to edit the book for him may have suggested some format and layout changes based on some of their quote unquote research, which may in the end actually be. But at the same time, I mean, when you write a book, you write the book. I've never heard that before. That's the first time I've heard. It's plausible to me that a group of people at a publisher, like
I don't know. I've seen some of the similarities, and I don't know how plausible.
No, I mean that it's plausible that a team of people may have told you what to do in your book, right?
Oh,
but,
it's very plausible. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, but would they be saying, "Hey, here, look at this page and copy that"? Because that's kind of like what some of those pages look pretty.
Well, because I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, no, they wouldn't do that. I don't think.
I don't know that
a publisher has a vested interest in the work,
right?
So yeah, they'll absolutely tell you, "Hey, we think you should do this," or "Why don't you do this?" or "Let's do that."
Well, what Alfonso did really intelligently was Jake did a quick, like he what do you call it when you just kind of you pull the cover back and you roll out the paper, like you like an animation, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He flipped. Here you go. I'm old. He flipped through the he flipped through the book real quick for like a 30-second video on Instagram or something. And so Alfonso noticed something peculiar, and then he recorded it and went through each frame of the recording of the video from Instagram. And guess what? He saw some of the titles were very, very similar. I mean, too similar. Some of and then on top of that, there's these drawings that are not just like, I mean, I've seen a lot of these drawings in my own study, and plenty of art books. But some of them in the specific layout and the arrangement and the order of some of these items, that's what kind of was like, oh, that's pretty indicting there, I think. I don't know. I mean, I'm no judge, and I'm, I don't want to assume, because Jake seems to be a really nice guy, and he doesn't come across to me as someone that would do that intentionally. Except
I wouldn't think so either. The only thing that comes to mind is is this meant to come out? Did you say the September 16th it's supposed to be published?
According to, so it's on Amazon now.
Oh my.
Let me see.
Here's what ran through my mind when you said that, is that if it was like something he was planning on doing, right? He hadn't done it yet, but he wanted something for display's sake. And so he just made the guts the other book, and he's just like, this is what I'm going to do. And then he's going to do his own thing. That would make sense to me. If this is an older video, maybe even. Kind of like it's going to come out right now.
Well, I think he wants it to come out just before Inktober starts, which is just next month, right?
Yeah.
So
I'm trying to give him an out here, man. I'm trying to give him an out.
yeah. I just typed in. I'm gonna look up Alfonso's book instead. Editing, drawing, and simple guide, right? So he has the book, and supposedly he has the workbook. And then when you clicked on his book, supposedly it was suggesting, and it showed it underneath. See, it's not showing it now. Maybe it's just my particular algorithm or whatever, but it's not suggesting the other book. So I don't know if something has changed between now and then. And again, but the thing is that Jake went on I think Twitter or Instagram and said, let me just say this. I did not plagiarize. It's the other word. It relates to this. Yeah. He says, I did not do that. And it's like, yeah, I hear you, man. But the video evidence there is pretty compelling.
Was he biting his lip? It depends on what the meaning of plagiarism is.
If the cap fits the pen, you must deepen the den. I don't know. But anyway. So, it's just sad because I'm sure it's what it is. It's like if anyone was to do it, because even there was something, the way that Dunn expresses it, I thought was pretty interesting. He talks about what it takes to put a book together. And there was a section where he's explaining the different levels of gradation in 6 steps, and he explains that it took him months to come to that conclusion, to break it down just into those 6 steps.
Yeah, he's got like a whole workbook of stuff.
Yeah.
Like explain. It's they use some Clownfish use example of have you seen Working Girl?
No.
No?
No.
All right. Well,
No.
it's this Harrison Ford's in it. Anyways, but the character she comes up with all his ideas and all this stuff, and then her boss steals her idea, right? And then like pitches it and pretends it's her own and all this stuff. And she finally has a chance. She's in the elevator. She gets in there at the last second with like the CEO of the company, and then she explains how she came up with the idea. You know, like I was reading through J. Crew magazine and I saw this character, and then like they were sitting on a thing and it gave me this idea, and I thought, well, what if you did this and this? And she goes through this whole rigmarole of how she came up with the idea, and then they got to the top of the building, and then her boss comes in. And the door opens and the CEO is like, how did you come up with this idea? And she's like,
I stole it.
Like, you're fired.
The old I tried it out trick. Yeah, and I'm looking for
it came to me in a vision.
It's like, that would work trick. Well, like I said, and again, so some of the other creators, I think Peter Hahn, you know who he is?
No.
He's another popular internet illustrator worker guy. He got involved as well, and he was like, well, everybody had something to say, and everyone's trying to be cool about everything. And again, like I'm looking at the Inktober book. The one that I'm looking at is, see, this isn't the one. There's an Inktober 2020, my Inktober challenge, 31 days. This is like a fuller book, and it's a square book versus a rectangle that I'm seeing. But basically he's using some of the material. Even like what got him was he saw the way that he was explaining how texture should follow the form, right? So if it's scales, you don't just put a bunch of little U's to make scales. It should follow the contour of the form of the object, right? I mean, and again, the tough part about this is, and this is I think what Tom's commentary was, Bancroft. His like, some of this information is not that different from all these other books.
Yeah.
But what this one YouTuber did was he had a bunch of people come in, and they all helped him. They all did some investigative journalism for him, I guess, and they found a bunch of examples of books where they're not as similar as that. They may have touched on some of the same ideas. And this is important because for a lot of us, I can talk about those things when I'm instructing someone, or describing or doing a demonstration of it. But it's another thing when you put it down on paper into a book, and then on top of that include even the way you lay out the book. And so another YouTuber is a designer, a book designer, a layout designer. And he was talking about how some of the things weren't that similar, but in some cases they were. So it just may be like, but if weird things like when the guy draws a hand holding a pen. It's an earthquake in San Diego right now. We just got to be careful.
Max just jumped up to the window and hit my camera.
And he draws it in his style. Of course, it's different because it's not exactly a photocopy, but in his style, he's drawing the same thing. And even the idea of doing like variant sizes and line weights for like cells, like little circle textures and stuff like that, all sorts of things. And I was just like, wow, it does look pretty rough. It doesn't look good for Jake.
Yeah.
So I mean, he may not have been the one to do it. I mean, I don't know, but the evidence on Dunn's side, that gentleman did it. I mean, just what he's describing, just in the limited amount of stuff I've done to put out a book here or there, literally, it's like, wow, that's a lot of work laying it all out. Then top out all the copy, and then the titles for the sections, and they were all so close. Like one would say, I don't want to. I'm paraphrasing some of the thoughts, but some things would be like tools versus instruments, like, but in the same of a variety of tools versus a variety of instruments, or something like that. Like
Yeah,
A variation of
But-
instruments.
But how many people actually say these are the instruments I use to ink? I don't know anyone that says that.
Right. I would have. It would have been better to just come up with a whole new language for it.
Yeah, I mean, I hear tools, or I would have, I wouldn't have been. It wouldn't have been surprised to hear these are the brushes and pens or something like that.
Yeah. Or other stuff. I would have said stuff. Would have been better. Yeah, I use other trash too. Look at this trash, whatever, just to make it fun. But
I think the audience wants a refresh on who Jake is. Jake Parker. He was an animator, right?
I believe so.
And he did. I'm trying to remember it's like the mouse. What was the mouse book he did?
The mouse book.
I remember a mouse book. Hold on, I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah, I will confess, I don't know a whole lot about this. I just know kind of what I've heard in inker circles is that the guy who created Inktober got upset at the people who were using ink, and it got so popular, right? Everyone was doing Inktober, and then they were trying to use the term Inktober for their own books. Like, hey, these are the drawings I did during Inktober. And then he got upset because people were using the term Inktober, so he bought it and owned it, and now no one can use it but him or something like that.
Yeah, I'm not sure. That's it. Yeah, you're right.
Missile mouse.
He supposedly he's come out and said a few things. Like, for instance, at one point he had made, that's the one he's better known for now, Little Bot and Sparrow. That's his thing. I mean, he's really he's a tremendous artist and a great. I mean, he can explain the tar out of what he does, and I appreciate that as well. My only concern, though, is is kind of what you're saying. Like there was some weird quotes. Like, one of the things he would argue was that a genuine Inktober contribution shouldn't be. I guess at the beginning it shouldn't be digital, but now apparently he's come back on that, and I think that's fair. I mean, why not? Everything's so much is changing in the art world. That seems like a foolish rule to put onto something that is. I mean, I guess if you started a trend, I guess, but it's like when people start anything on the internet, like mermaid, that's an interesting, fun project. If through the month of May you can draw a bunch of mermaids and all sorts of types, that's fun. If that's what you care for. But Inktober was a little bit different because he gave you he gave you, what do you call that, a term or I'm getting. Is it too late, or I'm just getting old? What's the term when you have like a word that goes with that day's project? Anyway, he would say, like, today, on the 1st of May of October, the word is there's a name for that. It's flagellate. Flagellates, right? So then you have to draw something that relates to that term or that word. Some sketchbooks have done similar things where they call out something. Like, you can buy a sketchbook that has a word at the top for each day of the year, and then you can just draw in that section. That's fun and all, but it all kind of started with Inktober. So he's got a great brand.
With No Shave November.
Yeah.
No Shave November is supposed to be some sort of like awareness activity. It's supposed to be related
for like men's testicular cancer or something. I don't know.
Is that what it is? Because I didn't know that until just recently. I just was shaving my.
That's probably
my beard. So,
flagellate is more of a Friday thing. Says Zippy.
They're all answering my question. It's a prompt. Thank you, guys. Eric Hawkins said it's
Prompts.
Northern Jeremiah.
People prompting you.
So yeah, and it's unfortunate. Like I said, I have a difficult time believing just the way he carries himself, and has always been very positive. He's the one that does these things called art drops. So he'll go during convention season, he would go to whatever cities he would be in. He would do a piece of art, put it into a comic book envelope thing or some sort of envelope, and he would tape it somewhere and let people find. I think it's a great idea. It's just he did it first, so now I'm like, I can't do it now because he did it.
Sure you can.
I'll do bathroom drops. It'll just be droppings in the.
Yeah.
I do that every day.
Yeah. So I mean, it's kind of cool. You can put. He would do that, and then people would scour the town, and then they would like post, I found Jake Parker's art or whatever. It's a cool idea to get your stuff out there. Unfortunately,
like geocaching with Jake Parker.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. So, unfortunately, though, this is gonna hurt him because I'm sure that people are starting to. Again, it's just the way things are. People are so polarized anymore that they I'm not gonna participate in this anymore. I'm gonna do this. Like, oh gosh, just.
I've heard some people are renaming it too. They're not calling. I don't know what they're calling it, but they're like, "Oh, we're not going to call it Inktober anymore. We're going to call it, Slap Inker, Slap Inktober."
All they're doing is the
Black
same difference.
Linetober. I don't know. Just
Yeah,
it's the same thing.
People are just joining in to do drawing. I never involved myself. I never did any Inktober stuff. But I mean, if you're just
I tried. I could never do it because my drawings are always too intensive. I'm like, oh, this is a waste of my time.
I'll be honest with you. The only person that I really can remember anything about Inktober is Bruce McCorkindale. Bruce is a former Malibu guy too, but he's the one who did all the Muppet things.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you remember seeing he puts some. I don't know exactly what he did. He puts all the Muppets in these classic film scenarios and situations.
oh
It's really cool.
Yeah,
it's really cool, and he made national news last year because of it. And he's the only one I really. If you were to say, "Hey, do you remember anything from Inktober?" Yeah, I remember Bruce doing the Muppets. That's pretty much about it.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people have taken their Inktober drawings for that month. It's 31 days, right? They take all the prompts, and they have published books that are their Inktober selections.
Which I think is a great idea.
But that's the problem, is that he did like a cease and desist on somebody who was trying to sell their Inktober stuff with the word Inktober on it.
Yeah, that
so
could be.
That's. I mean, look, if you're gonna have the name and you're gonna own the trademark and whatnot. I mean, and it is a community that you've created by doing this.
Right.
I wouldn't be that much of a stick in the mud as to be like, well, you can't use it.
Here's what he could always do. He could if you want to do, Mike, if you want to do something Inktober, you reach out to Jake, and Jake says, all right, Mike, for $5, I'll sell you the license to use Inktober for your thing, or $1 or whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's like that. This way, he kind of gets to moderate and control. That way, if you like, hey, I got a whole bunch of porno stuff. He's like, yeah, no, I don't think I really want. I don't really want that associated with Inktober. Yeah. It lets him kind of control what's there. But
he started the brand, right? It is his brand.
Right, yeah.
It is. Eric and Boyd says, draw Doug to Naples' hands and call it Stinktober.
Oh, yeah.
Stinktober.
That's not nice. That's not
Stink.
nice. We're not going to
get the joke. Doug doesn't wash his hands.
Oh, yeah.
Wait a minute. The same Doug that wipes till he bleeds doesn't wash his hands?
No, that's all 30-year-old blood stains there.
Wait. No, that's not true. This is made up. I don't believe it.
When you meet Doug in person, fist bump. Fist bump.
Okay. Really? Wow. I've never met Doug in person, but I've seen pictures of you and him, and he's got the wingspan of
a condor.
Pterodactyl.
Condor. He does. There's a picture of us, and there's a group of 12 of us, and Doug's hands are out both ways, and it's further than everyone in the group. It's like
he's touching the outside shoulders of the outside people.
Yeah, well, I'll still hug him when I see him. But I'll just keep my hands in my pockets when he tries to. Maybe a head bug.
It's like every time I talk to you, Mike, I learn something different about Doug.
Zippy says, I don't even fist bump him. We just wave.
Do you wave with the mask on your hand?
What's up?
Konnichiwa.
Bow, yeah.
Niporo-san.
Oh, hello, Doug. How are you?
Doug is fine. He's no dirtier than dirt. Leave him alone.
The problem with Doug is when he bows, his head decompresses from the altitude drop.
He smacks you because he's
That's funny. He loses consciousness because of that. What is that called when you come up from the ocean and you come too fast? It gets the bend.
You get the bends.
That's good, Michael. That was good. I like that. I wish I came up with that. That's a good one.
Doug says he has face hugger hands.
I wonder.
Equal fingers.
Do you know if you ever
Oh.
played basketball? Do you ever play basketball? You should have. I wish you could rip a whole basketball. Because he's really tall. He's not like just tall. He's really tall, right? Isn't he almost 7 feet tall? Or
He's 6'8".
I got an old college buddy who's 6'8".
that's very tall.
I'm almost 6'4". You know, but I look up to my buddy who's 6'8". I'm like, dang, I always forget how tall you are.
Yeah. Isn't it weird just how a few inches can
Yeah.
just
Because you think about it, like I said, you know, I'm 6'3 3/4". 6'8" is really only 4 inches. That's not that
Right.
much, right?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
But yet when I stand next to him, I'm like, dang, my buddy's name is Tim. I'm like, dang, Tim, I always forget you're so tall.
Yeah, I'm 5'7", so when I stand next
Yeah.
to somebody who's 6 feet, that's not like.
Yeah.
And then
Well,
there's
it's funny because, you know, I saw you.
8, which is
It's-
enough.
Yeah. I saw you in San Diego, a couple years ago. And when I saw you again, I'm like, you know, I've forgotten how short you are, Mike.
Thank you.
I love you, man.
I just want to point out that when I was growing up, 5'7" was the national average. 5'9" is the national average now. So somehow the national average got taller. I didn't get shorter.
Well,
You didn't eat enough veggies.
Everyone else got taller.
Mike, I don't know about you.
I'm still me.
I got a funny feeling you're not as tall as you think you are. Because, you know, as we get older, Michael.
Oh yeah.
No. I measured myself at the doctor twice in the last 2 years.
Were you checking to make sure?
5'7". Yeah, the weird thing is because I used to be 5'6 3/4".
Oh.
And I don't know
Okay.
how I gained a 1/4 inch, but
It's those
between
platform
the
shoes.
time I was in my 30s or early 40s and the last 2 times I checked at the doctor, I'm up. I'm up
Literally.
a 1/4 inch.
Huh. Maybe
now-
because you were.
like
I
your
was
Bitcoin
rounding up.
stock.
Even
Well,
though
you
for
were-
all these years I was rounding up on my driver's license, now it's actually true.
Well, you can't. You gotta be careful because you're wearing those insoles or whatever, right?
No, this was flat.
Oh.
No.
It's all that
No
Bitcoin
socks.
stock that was
Just
making
flip-
you round.
Oh,
Flip flops to bare feet on the thing, and I was 5'7".
wow.
There you go.
Huh. Interesting. Interesting.
Eric Hawkins says, I use Mike as reference for all my munchkins I draw in my Oz books.
Oh, ouch.
Ooh. Sorry.
Jeff Potts, Mike's doctor, nurse, bring me the ego compensating yardstick.
Oh.
You're
Why
all
you get-
heightist.
What's the
All heightist.
what's the deal with the shade, Mike?
You know, heightism is a moral wrong. Heightism is evil. Yep.
Short people
You
got
giant
no
jerk.
reason.
Short people got.
No reason.
I don't even know what that song is, so you can shut up.
What?
You
Oh,
can,
I'll send you a
you
link.
can both just shut up right now.
I'll sing it every day, Michael. Just for you. I'll do it every day.
All right, so Jake Parker, on a scale from 1 to 10, 1 being Stalin, and 10 being Jesus.
Whoa, that's a
All right, not Jesus.
yeah, that's pretty, that's
somebody-
rough, man.
That's
I was like, wow, you got to.
Gandhi. How about Gandhi?
No way, dude. Gandhi was responsible for tens of thousands of deaths. That guy's right above Stalin. Martin Luther King Jr.
Okay.
Jake Parker on the 1 to 10 scale.
Oh man.
Yes, I am asking you to judge another human being.
Yeah.
You know, here's the problem. I'm just not confident that I know enough about the situation.
Yeah.
You know,
Roland Mann is copping out. Roland Mann.
If I knew more, I'd be happy. You know,
Oh no, MLK.
I'm okay judging people. I mean, we do it every day, right? I mean,
Right.
no one ever admits it, but they do it every single day.
True.
Yeah. So I don't know enough about the situation. I pretty much told you all I knew at the beginning there.
Well, the book apparently isn't on Amazon right now. Let me just take a look. So maybe, he's. I think I would assume he's trying to do the right thing. I would assume he's trying to do the right thing.
I will also give him the benefit of the doubt, and I will not judge him like you were going to, Elliot.
No, I was trying to work my way out of that. You're right, though. I was going to, and that was my bad. I was following your lead, and I shouldn't have been so foolish.
You know, I tend to give people the benefit of the doubt until they prove me otherwise.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
we shall not mention any names.
Oh, yeah. Lots of names we could mention, right?
Lots of names on that
yeah.
list. Lots of names. Oh, look at how Max follows Isaac around the house like a puppy. It's
oh, really?
Yeah.
Like a puppy? Uh-huh.
Kung Flu Kitty. Now everybody's getting down on MLK. MLK said some good things, but he was not a great guy.
Well, like why? Why is he not a great guy?
No, he was an adulterer.
Yeah.
Well, maybe he changed his ways. Did he change his ways?
Well, that was.
I don't know. He didn't really have the chance.
Yeah, I was going to say. I think.
It was that recent.
Someone took that opportunity from him.
Yeah.
Maybe he didn't mean to.
James Hayes said, like you never slapped a prostitute.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, look, he did some great things.
Oh yeah.
You measure him on.
He did.
And he and I you know. Jiminy says he stopped cheating on his wife when he got killed.
Ouch.
All right, so far we've bagged on Gandhi, MLK. Where else are we going with this?
I love MLK. I still love him. Was he a communist? Somebody said he was a communist. Was he really a communist?
Yeah, I don't believe he was a communist. There's so many Jake Parkers on Twitter. I don't know which one is him. Someone wants me to look up Jake Parker on Twitter.
Look, Twitter's not the universe. He's probably more active. I bet he's more active on Instagram than he is on Twitter anyway. Actually, there was he actually has. Let me see. Let me go back to Mr. Dunn. Dunn has 656,000 followers on YouTube, but he had a much smaller number on Instagram, and it was almost flipped. Jake has more followers on Instagram than YouTube, but I bet nobody does well on Twitter. That's an artist like that, unless they're hyperactive politically.
Yeah,
that's an interesting thing. What would you, if obviously Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube? Where would you want to have the largest subscribers?
If I could, I would say YouTube if I could, because there's a direct link to. Well, see, you know what? I don't know.
Because interestingly, you have. It doesn't matter how big your subscriber base is on whatever the platform is. Only this percentage of your subscribers are ever going to watch your stuff.
Right.
Correct.
So it's more important how many of your people are active and following you than it is what your grand total is.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I've got probably 100 or 200 channels I subscribe to on YouTube.
Right.
That I don't even remember. Okay. Frankly, the kids probably subscribe to half of them, but that I don't even remember subscribing to, and that I will never click when I see a notification. Right.
Or if you even get a notification.
If you even get a notification.
I think that's true. I mean, it just seems like, so I don't know. I don't know how the answer for that, to be honest. I would say I hate all of them. But I would say that video is way more compelling if you have something to say.
Yeah.
And it gives you the opportunity to present a concept or an idea more eloquently, or even with borrowing opportunities for body language as a way to communicate. Those kind of like nonverbal communication. I think that communicates better, more fluidly, more efficiently through a video format or platform.
Yeah, you're reminding me, because now it seems like so many. Here's a 30-minute video by Elliot Fernandez on Indigo on Instagram.
That's the 32nd one. I
It's
think.
got 3,432 views.
Right. Mm-hmm. Right.
Now, what does a video of yours on YouTube get?
5. I don't know. I haven't gone into YouTube in a while. I haven't seen anything. I don't think I get very many. Hundreds.
Yeah.
Maybe.
And you've got what, 150,000 on?
I'm still at 30,000 on Instagram. And what do I?
I'm actually trying to look for Ray Park, because Ray just does nothing. I think almost nothing but videos, and I think he gets a significant number of views for each one. But I think so that's sort of using Instagram like YouTube.
Yeah.
Because it seems like and now Facebook does videos, and you can get a lot more. Facebook will promote your video to everybody.
Oh my goodness.
If you're doing exclusively to Facebook.
Right.
Like you're not splitting it up. You're not going from here. If you're doing a live stream from Facebook, Facebook will actually make sure that all of your subs find out about it. As opposed to any of your posts, they'll never do that on your posts.
Huh? Your fan page or your regular your personal page.
I think it doesn't matter.
Interesting. I should be on Facebook more then.
Well, I would tell you, I started streaming in Silverline, a bunch of Silverline folks several months ago. We stream using Restream. We go to Twitch and YouTube and Facebook, and we get way more. I'm talking not even close views, both live and on the replays on Facebook.
Yeah.
Than we do on any of the. I mean, we get like 1 or 2 on Twitch. I keep thinking that it's all these gamers are there. They're gonna want to come over and listen, but the only thing we get there is spammers. People are like, hey, I want to join you. I want to talk about my girlfriend. I'm like, dude, we're talking comics. But I think I would kind of agree. I have a desire. I would like to see YouTube grow, because probably I watch a lot of YouTube.
Yeah.
Or what I watch is mostly YouTube, but I think probably Instagram is the better place.
Yeah, although a lot of the guys that we hang out with, they all, like guys like Weldon and such, they all complain about Instagram, that it's not growing fast enough. But I think it's because it's hard for me now. I've been on Instagram since the mid-teens, right? And over 5, maybe more like 6-7 years, I think. It probably says so on the thing. I've been on there for a little while, and I think I was on there before Facebook bought them, and so my algorithm helped. But there wasn't an algorithm that was hurting me. However, I gotta say though, it's pretty simple. If you see, here's the thing, right? I actually recently someone said this in one of your chats, Mike, and I can't remember who said it. It's not always just about showing up. That's probably true in some cases, but you also have to provide a good product.
Yes.
So that's important. And then on top of that, frequency is important. Consistency is important. And then on top of that, subject matter is important. If your subject matter I noticed this on Instagram. If your subject matter is, like, if you think, like, I remember when I first started doing prints, when I first started doing conventions, I was doing prints. I was doing commissions. I would do prints of my commissions, and I just based it on how good my art was. I had this killer Dead Man piece, but nobody cares about Dead Man.
No.
It was one of my favorite. It still is one of my favorite drawings, even though it's super old. I did a Gentleman Ghost, and I couldn't figure out why no one would buy it. It looks so cool because nobody cares about Gentleman Ghost, no matter how well you draw him. He's just an invisible suit. So it's or a visible guy in a suit. So it's just like, well, maybe if you have the right subject matter, and I think that's where the biggest importance is, and then the right product to go with it, the right presentation for that.
Yeah.
And then of course, then on top of that, you have a consistent approach, blah blah blah. For some reason though, but like video games on Twitch makes sense because anyone can access. Nothing's going to change about.
I know everything you're talking about, but gosh darn it, I just don't want to. I'm not interested in chasing fans.
No,
Hey, by the way, look in the private chat real quick. Don't say it out loud though.
Oh wow. Oh, secret stuff. I like it. What? Yeah, some secret sauce right there, buddy.
So you just love doing this to you. Wow. You love doing this to your viewers.
That's a good idea.
Because they're like, what?
What?
What the heck,
Yeah.
dude?
He doesn't even talk to me anymore. What?
I'm not hugely surprised at that.
That's my lineup. That's for Monster Hunt 2 and Lone Star.
Wow.
Two different books. I just told them who all the artists are that are doing covers, and I'm not telling you guys. Sorry, everybody else.
You're so cruel.
Boom.
Boom.
So cool.
Epic. A couple of those guys I will be inking.
Yes,
their art.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a fun job.
Yeah.
I want to ink somebody. Can I just try?
I want to ink somebody.
Oh, yeah.
I want to feel the paper. Iron Luke says, secret, I've got a secret.
Well, but going back to what you were saying about the chasing, at the time I wasn't chasing anything. I was just doing.
Nick says, this is why my channel does not grow, because I won't chase fans.
Well, but yeah.
Well, I was just gonna say that it's a lot of it is just like at the time I was just look. This is why it's such a rough thing. Like for me, I'm still a fan of all these characters and stuff.
Yeah.
It is true that there was some that performed better than others. I didn't know what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
But Batman ebbs and flows a little bit, but he's mostly at the top. Joker is mostly at the top. If you like to draw Joker, like draw Batman, that's popular. Superman never sells.
Yeah, me missing the boat on this for me was this is what I should have been doing the 6 years that I was making most of my living doing conventions.
Yeah.
I should have been filming every single one of those. I should have been making videos and posting those on YouTube. That would have been 6 years of fan favorite stuff.
Hindsight is 20/20 though.
Yeah.
You know?
I just don't have time. Dude, I don't have time to do Lone Star right now because I'm working on the secret project. I'm working on other stuff, and it's like I don't have time for any of this. And so, why don't you make why don't you draw Poison Ivy? She's hot right now, and you could do a video in it. No.
Look, here's my opinion, and I know that I'm probably in the minority here. Michael, love you, but I really don't care about your pinups. I want to see your books.
Right. I do too.
I want to see sequential art. I want to see you tell a story. I already know you can draw Poison Ivy if you wanted to. Who cares, right? Yeah. Tell me a story.
And here's the thing. I love storytelling. Mm-hmm. That's why I'm a comic book artist. That's why I'm not a cover artist. Well, I'm a cover artist on one book, but that's why I never sought out to just draw covers. It's why I freaking don't work in advertising. It's why I don't, I love the medium of comic books as a storytelling medium. And I heard another creator the other day complain that actually doing the storytelling pages in comics is a chore and a slog. And I'm like, why? Well,
Oh,
It wasn't
You
me,
know-
but it was me in spirit. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
but you talk about chasing the viewers. So and what the ingredient is. Okay, you could suddenly start talking trash about different people or different books, and your viewership would go up because
you mean drama and controversy and
Yeah.
betrayal?
yeah.
Dun dun
Bringing it
dun.
back to the topic.
And I have me personally, and I'm not, I don't condemn anybody if that's what they want. But me personally, I don't have an interest in that kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's why I never really kind of got caught up. And that's why every time I send you a message, I'm like, dude, what'd you do now? I see I see stuff on Twitter. People, Mike Miller, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, well, what did he do now? He said something somebody didn't like. And now people
Well,
are
that's the
tweeting
thing. Some
about it.
people just don't like me, so they'll just comb through whatever I say to find something to complain about.
Yeah.
They made an entire issue out of me taking kumquats, loquats, off of my neighbor's tree while I was on a walk.
Why?
Like, it was a huge, controversial, dramatic thing.
Really?
It was so dumb. Like I said, they'll look for anything.
Yes.
It's juvenile on the level of, I don't know, retarded third graders, I think.
Yeah.
Hey, Matt Cousin's in the chat too. Look at him.
Carson, he's got the link if he wants to jump in.
Listen, he says writing is much less time consuming. That's where I would disagree with him. Good writing is not. Yes, writing, if you're just going to schlup something down, is not time consuming at all.
Yeah, just a
Good
physical
writing.
act, right? But
Yeah.
the actual putting together, constructing a narrative, and
Yeah. So many people think of writing as quote unquote typing. You're right. Typing does not take near as long as arting, right? But yeah, you got a lot involved with writing. So
and then there's a lot of people who are defenders of the writers that don't defend it well because they're just arguing the same point. They're oh yeah, they write, but they don't write very well. And it's like, well, put some more time into it, man. Really put some more time into it. It's worth it on the back end.
I mean, think about how many times you got a book, you go, wow, this is a really cool concept. The art looks really good. And then you sit down and you read it and you get to the end and you're like, what the heck? What was that? What did I just read? Why did I just spend 60 seconds or whatever? Why did I spend that?
Oh, speaking of, Mike
Yes.
Barron turned in the first draft of Monster Hunt 2 today.
Excellent.
Oh wow, how's
I
that?
love
Let's
the bloody
get
red bear.
cracking. Wow, dude, it was so different from like when I pitched him the idea. It was just such a simple, like a 3-line pitch. It's like let's do something like this, and he's like, I'm in. But what he turned out was, I mean, so involved. It's bringing in like just dimensions and characters and situations, and it's just all this stuff. I'm like, how did you get all that into a 48-page
Barrett
story?
Is so nuts. He is nuts. I love Barron, but man, he is nuts.
It's going to be such an amazing book. Oh man,
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
me too.
I like how your list of cover artists don't include me anymore. No, it's okay. It's okay. I'll be okay.
Let me see how much space I have on the roster.
Shut up. I'm just kidding.
Oh,
I'll be your
He needs a backup.
I'm trying to have a multiplicity of guys,
Yeah.
So
No, you did the right thing. You're ready to move on to some higher profile names and stuff like that. That'll get you.
we've got
also some new
legend
names.
people.
Yes.
Legends.
Yeah.
The people that I mentioned to these guys, which I'm not telling you guys. legends.
And that you want to kind of get them involved too, you know? It's kind of a new thing. So I like
really.
that idea.
Actually, that's a great point too, because a lot of these guys are this is their opportunity to explore what this is what we were saying 2 years ago, that this is the next stage for what the industry will be, and I'm excited for it, and I'm excited for you, and I'm excited for all those guys who are going to come over, but the great thing is that there's still room for the Elliots and those guys to be in there too. It's just we just, because it's not easy either. You can't just come over here and going, oh yeah, look at me, man, I got 30 years in the business, man, I should just come in here and make make 6 figures, 7 figures, let's do it, come on. Yeah. It took a John Wick to do that. John Wick literally came in and shot everybody up and said,
oh yeah, he's over $750,000. I haven't looked at it in a couple days.
Yeah, but here's the question, right? I get what you're saying, but would John Wick have done it without the celebrity attached?
Well, that's what I mean. That's what I'm saying. Okay. He came in and he just John Wicked it. He beat everybody's butt. But I'm just saying that.
Wow.
That it took a John Wick to do that, right? Everybody, he's a household name. Jim Lee. I know we want to believe this. He's not a household name.
No,
he's a household name in a bunch of comic nerds' houses.
To us,
no,
but he is to us.
But if Jim came in and did a Kickstarter, he would do $2 million.
He might, but John Wick just breathed over here.
Yeah, he did one video. He doesn't have any social media presence, so it's not like he's promoting it.
No.
Right.
He just did the one video that's on here. And he says, "Comics are cool. Comics are awesome.
Look at my ratty hair."
Right. He just does that, and boom, $750,000, 1/3 of the way into the campaign.
And here's the thing. I think, I don't know how much you've talked about this or not, but I'm a fan of Boom, right? But here's the thing. To me, that's almost a sign from Boom that they're not confident. They're not confident. They have no confidence in the retailers. Because do you think they would have gotten that kind of finances if they'd have sold that book to the retailers?
Well, if they had sold it to the retailers, they wouldn't be getting $761,000.
That's what I'm saying.
Not even if they sold that many books, they would only be getting 300 and change.
Yes, and so that's what I'm saying. I just think that I think I'm excited because I think that we are, and I think Elliot was alluding to it a little bit earlier. I think we are on the cusp of a change in the comic book industry. I think that this is kind of, I was a kid when the direct market was coming about. I bought my early comics off the newsstand, and then suddenly there were comic shops. I didn't know that they weren't always there. I just thought that once you could drive to the comic shop, right?
Yeah.
When you couldn't drive, you had to ride your bicycle to the 7-Eleven.
My comic shop was in the mall across the street from my Taekwondo dojo. So it was like I'd go from there to the comic shop. It was great. I was like a mile away from my house, so I rode my bike. But yeah, I used to go to the 7-Eleven before I discovered that comic book store and just rifle through the comics. I don't think I ever bought a comic from the 7-Eleven, but I remember looking at them there. But I saw because I think the first comic I bought was that sideways issue of Fantastic Four by John Byrne.
Yeah.
Was that 281?
I don't remember the number. I remember the issue, but I don't remember.
But that's the first one I remember buying. I'm not sure if I ever bought one before that, but that's when I started collecting comics.
But see, I think we're on the cusp of another kind of change, and I don't know exactly what it's going to look like or what it is. But with this whole stuff with DC and Diamond and these 2 new pop-up distributors and crowdfunding, what all crowdfunding can do now.
Look, and I know he's been getting a crap ton of crap lately, but what Mitch Breitweiser is doing right now, people need to realize. Hold on a second.
He's getting comics into the hands of people who wouldn't buy the comics in
That's right.
another way, right?
Yeah.
I want to read this because this is something that he just said now, I think for the first time publicly. And it's something I've known because I was signed to an NDA, but I've been talking to Mitch about this stuff for 2 years.
Yeah.
So he wrote,
No. I remember you being part of it.
Mitch Breitweiser created, co-wrote, illustrated one of the best books of the year, produced. Whoops, crap. Whoops, that's not the link. I didn't want to read. Produced 3 more equally amazing titles from scratch with the best talent on offer. Completely shattered the distribution paradigm with an exclusive partner that services over 67,000 bookstores and newsstand locations.
Yep.
That is the important. That's why I'm behind Mitch. Mitch is not a perfect person. Mitch has made some mistakes. I'm not going to, but it's why I believe in what he's doing.
Yep.
More so than I care about a few people that haven't gotten their books yet. Right. They're going to get their books. I'm not worried about that. I have talked to Mitch about it. Everyone's getting their books. They're going to be late. Are already late. Late books is part of crowdfunding. Get over it. But 67,000 bookstore and newsstand locations.
That's incredible.
This Walmart is a freaking test market.
Yep.
For this distributor. That's what people didn't know, and why I've always been, Mitch, brother, you could fix this whole thing. I mean, maybe not literally, but
right.
This I've been complaining for 2 decades.
No, you know what?
Nobody gets comics into the hands of kids anymore.
That's right.
Yeah,
and that's a problem.
67,000 locations.
Yeah.
This is why Allegiance Arts matters.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's the wrong perspective I think to your point, Mike, I'm not interested in saving what's already broken because I don't have enough power to save it. And we don't even have enough power to save the system as it is. But you got to take what's good about it and build a new pathway for it. That it needs to genuinely grow. It needs to evolve, right? Like a vine, right? We keep cultivating it and we keep trimming it in this one spot. It will never go. If you want to get a little wild before you got to get it to let it grow a little bit more before you need to prune it again or do something different with it. Because right now, all it's been doing is just it's been stifled into this little spot in the direct market. And I'm so happy that I have friends that have direct market stores, and I'm super grateful for them and what they provide. It's just that there was it was like catching a virus, no pun intended, in our modern time, right? It was like getting a virus, and nobody ever fixed the real problem, never left.
Yeah.
And I everyone has done. I mean, everyone's armchair quarterback this industry and trying to figure out what was wrong and what went wrong, and what could have been better. But at the end of the day, it's just a sick industry, and it needs to be repaired, or it needs to grow into a new thing. It needs to go Super Saiyan now, like the next phase. It needs to go from caterpillar to moth or butterfly. What's the next phase? And I don't think it can continue that evolution in its current state. It's just not. There's not enough room for growth in it. I just don't see how it can work. But listen, at the same time, and by the way, these stores have done it. The successful stores have done a great job of evolving as well. They've changed. Oh, I'm getting dizzy, Michael.
I know. It's like, what are you doing, Mike?
I was talking to Roland over here, and no, but I'm saying they're evolving, and they're adapting and changing and allowing other things to come in and get cultivated in their space. I mean, it's not what the comic purist guys want. What happened to Carson?
I don't know. There he is.
There he is. He's blanked out for a minute. It's not what all of us kind of want. Some of us that want that experience. Like I was talking to my son of the last few days. We, for example, this is a dark one, but like 9/11, right? Those of us in this generation look back at that like, man, that was so powerful. That was this, that was that. There you go.
Yeah.
And then, but my son was born in 2004.
Yeah.
You know, he has no idea, and so he doesn't understand, or even, and that's just 3 or 4 years away from the event,
Yeah.
and it didn't affect him enough.
Yeah.
So
It's like Greg Rucka's kid got arrested for BLM and stuff. He's 20.
Really?
He was 1 year old when 9/11 happened.
yeah, see. So I'm just saying that you're right about Mitch. Mitch is doing something. You know what's still around? That retailer.
Oh,
You know, Walmart, whatever.
Walmart, yeah.
They're still around.
Whatever. Walmart.
I'm just not sure if I should talk about that kind of stuff.
I just spent money at Walmart today.
Yeah.
They're not going anyway.
Yeah.
No need to sprint. It is a marathon. Yeah, I mean, everybody, look, everybody, I understand you. I backed Red Rooster.
I did too.
Waiting for it too, and I understand. I'm just saying my desire to get my book is superseded. And I don't know, you can say he was founded on lies, you can say he's been dishonest, you can say whatever you want. You don't know the whole story. Heck, I don't even know the whole story, and I know a lot more than you do.
Yeah.
But what he's doing is more important than me getting a comic book on time. So, or the fact, I don't care if it came out at Walmart first. It's, you know, I wasn't like, oh, I'm going to get the first issue and this is going to be my retirement. This isn't the 90s. And hopefully we're all smart enough not to think that we're going to retire on the first printing of
comic books,
Lone Star or Red Rooster or Cyber Frog or Doom Kicker or anything. Nobody's getting rich. If you want to get rich, buy Bitcoin.
Whoa. When this turned into an advertisement?
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
It's more important to me. This industry, everyone here has spent their entire lives since they first picked up their first comic book as either a fan or a professional. This has been the vocation or the avocation of our entire lives. And it's more important that someone like Mitch had an opportunity to reach 67,000 bookstores with comic books again, not bookstores, but newsstands, bookstores, Walmarts, grocery stores, all those places where comic books have evaporated for the last 20 years.
Yeah.
That is so much more important than 2,000 or 3,000 people on Indiegogo who gave him the boost up. Those people are important. I'm important. You're important. Everybody who ordered the book is important. You're gonna get your books. He's going to over deliver what he promised. He just under delivered on the timeline. So I don't know. To me, it's just about what is more important. My entire industry finding a new avenue for readers, or the book I paid for 2 years ago.
Yeah.
That's my argument. Y'all,
well, and I think
I was hella late on my book, so I can't give him crap for that.
Yeah, I'm late on mine.
So I shouldn't say that I've delivered 7 of 7 crowdfunders.
Shut up, Roland. I don't want to hear about your. I was on time with everything.
That's the editor in me coming out having to say that, right? You know, the thing about it is the thing I like about it is they seem to be actively seeking a way to address the distribution problems. Now, is this the answer? I don't know the answer. I don't know if it is the answer, but I like that they're trying. They're not just throwing more stuff at Diamond, and I don't have a problem with Diamond. I know lots of stores do. I don't have a problem with Diamond. I think that, you know, you can go. We probably spend a lot of time on Diamond. A lot of people get mad at Diamond because they're a quote unquote monopoly, and I'm like, yeah, but do you remember that in the 90s they basically kind of bailed, in the late 90s they kind of bailed everybody out.
They saved the industry.
Yes, they saved the industry, and so you can get mad at them all you want to, but they were really the last man standing.
Yeah, that's an interesting moment when the survival of your industry was more important than your principles.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. This is a similar situation to me. To me. I know
To
other
me,
people
too.
are upset. People in the chat are obviously upset. Baz says Mitch should have stated that the Indiegogo were contributing to a startup, but that wasn't the case. That wasn't the case at the time he launched the Indiegogo. It wasn't. Andrew Hayes says, I'm waiting on Doom Kicker and Long Harbor. I'm waiting on books other than Mitch's that are look, Mitch's book is 1 year late. I bought it 2 years ago, but he had a really long deadline on it, and now it's technically a year late. There's other books on Indiegogo that are as late as that. So,
anyway, that's why I'm cheering for him.
Yeah, Bench was dishonest on something small. Why should we believe him on something larger? You can believe me. I've known about this distributor since before technically he had his pitch to the distributor. And I'm not supposed to talk about it. I'm supposed to be, you're not. But he made it public. So I assume it's okay that I can say that. Pencil for Life says I am a year late.
But Cawthon is a ghost. Okay. Every time he pops in the room, I'm like, I'm getting ghosted by Cawthon. Literally. Yeah, listen, guys, it turns out it's really nice. The language that we use in describing the circumstances is nice and corporate, and it's very, very interesting. But that is one of the, again, to Roland, your point, this is not the answer. This is one of the answers.
Yeah.
And
look, Berserker is part of the answer.
Right. I agree.
It's gotta be a bunch of people trying different things to bring new readers into comics. And that's why I'm happy if someone can bring in, 100 new readers into comics. I'm thrilled. Quinn and his 250,000 people on channel, he's got over 1,000 new people reading comics or will be reading comics because he's doing a book. I'm working with somebody who's got 1 million subs. Hopefully we can bring in 10,000 new people into comics. Everybody helps. Ethan is helping. Star Wars Girl is helping. I don't know who else is helping. Everybody who's doing this in crowdfunding and reaching out to their own audiences. I wish Geeks and Gamers would do it. I wish Nerdrotic would do it. I wish everybody that had an audience that was sort of, into science fiction, fantasy, nerdy stuff, who might be tempted to get into comics through one of those avenues. I wish every single one of them would do it just so we can add oxygen into our space. We need new readers because Marvel and DC have failed for the last 20 to bring any in.
Well, and another thing to consider is that the oxygen is getting so thin in the current setup that people are desperate for to come back the way it was. It's going to take a while, like there's things that I'm learning just through this experience in Doom Kicker that there's things I'll never do again the way I did it. And I if I could go back and change things, I would, but it is what it is. So now I have to contend with those details, and it's my fault, my responsibility. But at the same time, that there was nobody before that to tell me Mike told me some things, but I shouldn't have done.
Nobody listens to Mike.
Nobody listens to Mike. But I'm saying, like, there were some things that could have that you could have only learned going through the dark part of it first, I wish. I wish everything was perfect, but it's not. But in the interim, though, this is just another step. This is what's happening is because we've kind of the shaft or the silo that the current industry it doesn't work anymore the way it's almost like the only way I can imagine is like the technology has advanced now. We don't need to have a silo anymore. We can actually do a different means of distribution and storage. It's just another way that things get done. And so we just have to, some of us are going to do better than others. So, look, if people never come back to Elliot Fernandez again, that's okay. I'll be working a construction job anyway, guys. It'll be okay. But at the same time, I'm really rooting and pulling for guys like Mike, and I'm not sure, Roland. Are you doing stuff, Roland, too?
Yeah, of course I'm doing stuff. Didn't you just hear me tell Mike that
Yeah,
7 for 7
70,000
delivered on time?
delivered. I
Come
know.
on.
67 million projects delivered.
Yes. Yeah, no.
Roland books are never late.
And I've got another one starting Tuesday.
Nice.
Yes, called
Pitch it. Wait, hold on. Before you pitch it, let me get a couple of these chats. Jeremiah Jones says, if I can be patient waiting for 4,000 in original art, you all can wait for a $25 book. Jeremiah Jones, do I owe you any of that?
Oh, no.
Matt says, one of the problems is that when a $100,000 campaign is 2 years late, that makes backers more hesitant to back all campaigns, including small $5,000 campaigns. Trickle down.
I agree with that.
But
Yeah.
I don't disagree with that.
But that's still a small port. That's still just one branch, though. I think that's the problem. Is we are expecting this crowdfunding's not going to fix everything. Crowdfunding is a step towards a better system down the road. This is not just a bandage. This is more like a cast for me. So I see this as a way like let's stabilize some things and let's get it going. I get it when a big campaign may do that, but don't forget, we're not just trying to reach the same people. There's, to Mike's point, we need these other guys. We need John Wick to do his job.
That's right.
And to do his part to do that, because he's going to bring people who would never even read these comics before.
Yep.
So the problem is that what's always the problem is that we think we're the center of the universe, and so we're like, no way, we have to be pleased as the customer.
I'm not.
No, it turns out, I hate to break it to y'all, but the truth is, though, all these things are small battles. So yeah, some of the battles didn't work out so great. I get that. But to Mike's point about Mitch, I think in the long run, that's going to do a more benefit to this. What is for the rest of us is just a hobby. Yeah. For some of us, this was our livelihood. I need Mitch to do what he's doing if I'm ever going to do another book again. Otherwise, here's another thing, guys. I also think that we should stop trying to upsell these six-figure campaigns to people who are inexperienced in making comic books. That was another problem. I think there should be, what I'm learning now is that there's maybe what some of us need to do is be more like, okay, so you have the military, you have like the big battleships and the carriers, right? But then you have these small things that they move in and out quickly. You need a variety. It's just like in art. You have some giant bold strokes and big black shapes, and then for every giant black shadow on a piece of art, on a page of comic book art, there's a bunch of small hatching that all contributes to it. Some of us want to be big black shapes of art and don't realize that we're not ready for that. But if we do it properly and we're patient, we can actually do it. That's some of the stuff that I'm working on with Andy, even on this small project that I'm helping him with for the lab experiments. It's not, it's not going to bust down the doors, but it's about building relationships with people and getting things going. But trust me, guys, no one's going to be impressed with like, oh my gosh, this 100K book, did this whole thing. And then the only people that received it were the people that supported it. We need those bigger, we need to get those whales, we need to go after those whales, those whale opportunities, the Walmarts, the John Wicks. We need that out there. We need the Quinns. We need the people that are going to genuinely move the needle. But
the secret project.
We're doing is we're locking arms together to try to keep it up while they do some of that heavy lifting, and they don't even realize it. Maybe they're not. Maybe John Wick's not trying to do that for us. Maybe he's just doing it because he loves comics, and that's cool. As long as it gets going. Anyway, jalapeno milk.
Oh man, I want. Tell us about Roland's book. All right. Go ahead, Roland.
All right. So, first I'm going to answer his first question because he said he hadn't heard of me. So I'm going to tell him. I got started in the late 80s.
First and foremost, Roland Mann is the editor on Lone Star.
Wow.
And I was Mike's editor way back when he was but a wee lad. I got started in independent comics.
I was 5'6" 3/4.
That's right. in the late 80s, thanks to the independent comics boom back then. And I worked on a bunch of stuff, including things like Planet of the Apes. I did a Lita Ford comic with the heavy metal musician, and then I got hired to be an editor for Malibu Comics, which is how I met Mike.
The boom.
Yep, and I edited The Protectors and Dinosaurs for Hire and X Mutants, and then
Gravestone.
And Gravestone, yep, and that whole family. And then that went away, and then they shifted me over to the Ultraverse, and I edited about half of the Ultraverse line. About half. Strangers, Prototype, Freaks. I just edited the last few issues of the Freaks. Nightman, Rune, Mantra, yeah. Yeah.
Names are way back.
Yeah.
Ahead of its time.
So yeah, we won't talk about that. So Marvel bought the company, right? And then Marvel shut it down. And then I started up my small press label, Silverline. Published a bunch of books until about 2001, which is when I lost a whole bunch of money. And my wife said, "You got to stop losing money." So I went and got a degree and started teaching. And been doing that now for close to 20 years, not quite yet. But still make comics on the side. So this is one of the ones that I crowdfunded and shipped. Cat and Mouse 2, Cat and Mouse 1. There you go. And on Tuesday, Cat and Mouse 3 will be crowdfunding along with, I'm going to do a twofer. You're still showing me, so I should still hold it up. So I'm going to do a twofer on Tuesday. It'll be Cat and Mouse issue 3 along with a new project called Trumps. And it's going to be Trumps book 1 will be a 48-pager, and it's science fiction superhero action.
And by the way, that looks phenomenal. I've seen some of the art from Trumps that Roland has shared. Dang, man, that looks like Alan Davis level stuff.
Yeah. So, Mike, with your permission, I'll share my share my no, not my screen, my the little notify me pre-launch page.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Do it.
Sweet. Because we're launching on Tuesday. Oops, remove any web addresses and try again. Oh, it won't let me do that.
Type hi Mike in the chat and I'll make you a mod.
Hi Mike. All right. Okay.
All right, now you can post whatever you want.
All right, good deal.
And then we'll talk about mantra.
No.
So true story, because if you don't know mantra, so true story. When we were about 7-8 months into the book, we got a package from somebody. Mike Barr's from Ohio, and we got a package from someone in Ohio that said that he had the idea for this kind of thing first, and Mike Barr stole his idea. In the package, he included a photocopied. It was a homemade comic book, but it was a photocopied thing that had a man and a woman's body, and claimed that he did it first, and Mike Barr was just stealing his idea. I was instructed by the higher ups to throw it away. They were like, "Yeah, throw that away." So I'm like, "Okay."
Well, you don't think Mike Barr actually stole it, do you?
You know what? I don't really know. I can't answer that. When I saw it, though, it did make me go, But, if you know Mike Barr, nope, he probably had this idea all on his own.
Yeah. So Adam Hughes designed a character, Mantra.
Yes.
The man
No.
trapped in a woman's body. In 1993, was this? 94? 93.
Yes, 93 was the launch, so 93, 94, 95, into 96.
So ahead of its time, Roland. Yep. I don't know, maybe you should do something like this again. It would be a big hit today.
I think that'll be a hard pass.
Roland's like, no comment.
Healing.
Yeah.
Matt, are you going to say anything, or are you just going to be there just ghosting us here?
I'm just ghosting now. I'm listening. I'm a fly on the wall right now.
What's up, Matt?
Hey, how you doing?
I'm just so glad that
good to
Matt
see you.
looked like Charlie
Good,
Brown.
good to see your ghost self.
Yeah. I thought I'd go with it. They said I was ghosted, so I was ghosting the channel. So I thought I'd roll with it. I exposed my Halloween outfit a little early.
Oh man,
That's your Halloween outfit.
Yeah, this is my normal outfit right here.
Austin, you're a blockhead.
Oh,
Oh, great goodness.
There he is.
This is a
Super.
surprise.
The Patriot. I would say the Super Patriot is the Patriot.
Oh,
Copywritten Super Patriot, right?
the ghost
Yeah.
of the founders,
Yeah,
the Phantom
The ghost-
Founder.
there you go. Phantom Founder.
Founder, love it.
No, this is crazy. I would have been on earlier, but my brother and I, we were sitting in our apartment and we smelled something really bad. And sometimes what happens is we have a window fan and the dog beneath us does some business, and so it blows right in, right?
Ugh.
So, but this time it smelled different. I'm like, what is that smell? It smells really bad. Anyway, we went out to go to the car to go to the store, and someone who doesn't live here, people up the hill in our apartment complex, they dropped off a big freezer that was tipped over full of rotting meat.
Oh,
They just dumped it right in our drive, and I'm like, and took off, and I'm like, what? And it's just sitting there, and you know how they got the chuck is in that little styrofoam tray with the saran wrapped over it.
Yeah.
Well, the saran wrap was like a giant balloon, just blow it up. Yeah, I guess. And I was just like,
oh.
so it smelled so bad.
You know what that reminds me of? Mantra.
You know, you should have grabbed it and forwarded that onto Carol Baskin.
That's Terry Dodson art from 1993.
Yes,
Is
Terry
it really?
Dodson.
That.
What?
Yep. Terry did the first mantra.
So is that where he started his Adam Hughes style, right?
I don't know if this is where he started or not, but I know that it was.
Influence,
Yes. Yeah.
which he made it to his own. Because it's funny though that so we were hoping to the rancid meat story. We were hoping that someone would clean it up because we thought the apartments closest to it would definitely get sick of it and clean up, right? So when we came back, they just threw a giant carpet over it, like a giant rug, and it still smelled, right? So my brother's like, you know what, this is gonna be worse tomorrow. We got to do something about it. So we got rubber gloves, we got garbage bags. We went there and we rolled the carpet back and started just dumping. I had 2 layers of masks on, and we were dumping the trash. And I have a strong stomach. I can pick up dog stuff with the glove, and put it in the, I know it doesn't bother me. I had to walk away twice just so I could breathe. I couldn't even breathe. It was so bad. I never smelled anything like that. We finally got it.
Yeah, I smelled something like that. I'll tell you the story.
But we got in the dumpster.
More stories.
But the long story short, when we came back home, I realized my mask smelled like it. And then I was like, ooh, my shirt smells like it. And then my pants, everything. And then so I took off the clothes and then I realized my skin smells like it. I just jump in the shower and wash off. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I've never smelled anything that bad where it just destroyed everything. And so I had to put my clothes in a separate plastic bag. So hopefully they wash out good. And then we had the bottom of my shoes. I was smart enough not to walk in my house with it. I had to wash those off with bleach and everything. It still smells a little bit.
You know what's bizarre? That smell is identical to if you leave a dirty baby diaper in the car and it gets hot. It smells exactly like a rotting corpse.
What?
Yeah, it's freaking gross. And so one time it was like that smell started coming up in my bedroom of all places.
Oh.
And I'm like, what is going on? I'm like, was there a bad diaper that it just got left or something? Or did it get on the carpet or something? And I couldn't figure it out. And it was just getting worse day after day. And so I'm down trying to, you're trying to smell and find the source. And I get to this one location in my carpet and in my bedroom. And I'm like, it's coming from here, but it's there's nothing on the carpet. I go outside and there's a vent also under my house. I'm in San Diego, right? So we're on stilts. We're on these little stilts. We don't have basements. We don't have foundations. The houses are on stilts. And I go up to the vent and I get near it. And I'm like, whoa!
Oh,
Ah.
no.
There's a raccoon rotting right under my bedroom,
Oh,
which is,
nasty.
by the way, all the way on the other end of the house from the crawl space.
Are you sure it wasn't Santeria? They did that on purpose?
No. So my nephew was living with us at the time, and he doesn't have a sense of smell.
So he didn't smell it.
He didn't smell it. And I'm like,
Wow.
Andrew, I have a job for you. So I made him crawl all the way to the other end of the house. I mean, the crawl space is only 2 feet, right? So he had to crawl all the way to the end of the house and drag this rotting corpse of a raccoon. And he pulled it out. I have a photograph of it, and it's like maggots just dripping. And so like we had to put it in 2 garbage bags to seal it up and chuck it. It was like so disgusting. It was like the most
man, Mike topped me.
I'm gonna get you off of maggots here. Mike, Jalapeno Milk says that if you'll vouch for me, he'll back me. So you got to vouch for me.
I absolutely vouch for Roland Mann.
Thank you, Mike.
Cool.
Counting on you, Jalapeno.
Even though he edited Mantra.
He's forgiven.
No,
I wasn't even a Christian when that book came out, and I was like, ugh.
you know what? It made most people that I'm aware of uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You know, they were
But
like,
at least-
yeah, there's just something weird. But Terry Dotson's art was great, you know.
Yeah.
But you're like, just
Oh, the design was great. It's just you're looking at it and you're like, okay, I'm looking at a dude though.
Well,
No,
so
but at
true
least it was
story.
one.
So true story. So this obviously this was early '90s. We couldn't, Malibu's had a very aggressive marketing licensing department, right? And they were out there trying to sell all kinds of stuff. People would be interested in a mantra, then they would say, well, tell us about mantra. And then they said, well, it's a warrior, a male warrior stuck in a woman's body. And they would go, yeah, okay, we're not interested, right? And so they couldn't option it. And literally they could not option it. So one of the things that we had to do, and Mike Barr hated this, this was an edict from on high. It's like, you have to make mantra into a real, legit female. We can't have this male running around in a woman's body. And so when we had the Black September event, which is after the Marvel purchase, Mike revised the character where she was a younger character, but she was a full-on female. And so the later part of Mantra, she was a younger woman as Mantra.
Very nice. Oh, look at this. This is basically my old studio. Hold on. Open image in tab. So we've got, there's Ben Herrera.
Yep.
Scott Benefiel, Jason Rodriguez. I don't recognize Hoberg. I don't know who Hoberg is.
Rick Hoberg. Yeah, you do. Oh, come on.
Oh.
You know Rick Hoberg.
I don't know him personally.
Oh, okay. You'd like Rick. He's a good guy.
But yeah, this was my old studio. Jason, Scott, Ben, Ellis Goodson. Everyone on the channel knows Ellis.
Oh, yeah.
Who else was there? Scott, Mike Christian, who ended up making way more money in video games than the rest of us.
Well, that's what Rick ended up doing. Rick went to animation. Oh, yeah? Mm-hmm. He did like all those Marvel cartoons that you see.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Rick did a lot of those.
Ah.
He's the guy who drew Strangers.
Oh, okay. Yeah. There's no money in comics.
No.
Well,
you do comics because you love comics.
Maybe not directly, right? But I mean, look at McFarlane. McFarlane, he took his comic book, but he made these companies, toy companies, video games, movies, animation.
Also, Jeff Johnson, Mike.
Oh, Jeff's on there?
I think so. He did. Jeff did Solitaire.
Yeah, but he didn't draw that Solitaire.
Oh, I don't know. I don't remember who did the art on that thing. That's too many years ago, man.
It's Hoberg, Benefiel, and Herrera.
Oh, are the names actually listed?
Yeah, it looks.
Oh, okay.
They're right here. Ben.
Oh, I see him now. Yeah. I got you.
So I'm thinking Ben, Scott, and Hoberg penciled it, and then Jason inked it.
You should do a reunion
Look how-
picture.
Jason's freaking signature is like the John Hancock of comics. He's like, let me make sure it takes up 3/4 of the space. What'd you say, Elliot?
I said you should do a reunion thing with them, and everybody gets together and takes a picture then and now.
Oh,
That'd be pretty cool.
He sounds so enthusiastic.
a lot of work.
Ben is like in France now, isn't he?
Ben
What?
is in it's not Greece.
Okay.
but
He's
white-
in Europe somewhere.
Yeah, it's Eastern Bloc.
I forget I said it. I was just saying. I was like, that'd be pretty cool. Forget it.
He was here for 8 months. He was only supposed to be here for 4 months, and then COVID happened, and they wouldn't let him fly back.
Oh,
Europe.
he's stuck. Where was he stuck?
Locked down Europe. Paolo Pantalina is locked out of Italy. He's I'm not going to say what country he's in. He's in another Eastern Bloc country because they won't allow travel, which is hilarious because I was having this argument with a socialist on Facebook, and he's like, oh yeah, all these countries hate America so much you can't travel there. I'm like, you can't travel in Europe. And Paolo is Italian. He lives in Italy, and he can't even go to his home because travel is locked up there. It's like,
That's crazy, man. It's still going on. I thought they opened up everything except the U.S.
It's not a rights issue, Nick.
no.
Man.
What the heck? Down with the patriarchy. What are you talking about? Kevin, get in here, dude.
I think they were talking about your raccoon story.
Kevin!
Oh,
Yeah. He scared him off. Hey, look
because
at
I made my nephew to the thing. What do you got, Matt?
Oh
Oh yeah.
Oh, cool.
Oh, look at that.
my God.
Yeah, Kevin, you didn't
Nice.
know Ellis was in my studio back in 1993? Or it wasn't my studio, it was our studio. But
Keanu.
So
I'm still working on it.
is John Wick's plan to make this into a movie?
Probably.
I don't know. I think it probably will become one.
That's the hopes, right? The studio picked it up.
I don't think that was. I mean, I don't know. I haven't talked to Ross about it. I haven't talked to. I don't know. Well, I talked to. Oh my gosh, I'm blanking on his name.
Thanks, Kung Fu.
I know that guy too.
Fu Kitty.
Ron Garney.
That guy's my. Oh no, not him.
Thank you.
Look at your face, Elliot. You suck at poker, don't you?
I don't know. It looks pretty good there. Thanks, Zippy. He likes my Jared Leto piece. Zippy, the unicorn.
His name is Keanu, not John Wick. John Wick says, "I will not make it into a movie." Keanu.
I hate to tell you guys.
Oh, that's a nice Nexus.
Yeah,
Okay.
hold on to that, dude.
Yeah.
Hold on to that for me.
Okay, I gotta add in stars.
That might make a good trading card or some supplemental material for the campaign.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I'm gonna add in the stars and constellations and
Yeah.
and some other moon renderings. On moons
How
and
cool
planets
is
here.
it that I'm doing a crossover with Lone Star and Nexus
Yeah, that's awesome.
and
That-
Bigfoot Bill? But right now we're
That is
talking.
very cool.
That's great.
Yeah.
I had to, man. You set me up for it. I had to, yeah, sure. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh,
Okay, that's fantastic.
great.
You get the front and center.
No, I think it is cool. Nexus, I love that book. I still, to this day, I still refer to Steve's work in there. And the book was tight. It was a good written book. I didn't read a lot. There's a lot to read of it, though. I only could consume so much of it at the time. But definitely stoked about the character and I told you, right? I did a project with Nexus. It was with this, I forget the name of the organization, but
The
it was with
CIA.
huh?
CIA.
Yeah,
One of my very first published stories was in a Nexus issue.
yeah. See,
Oh, cool.
I did a. Did you read it at all? Do you remember the character? You remember Judah the Hammer?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I did
dude.
it. I did a Judah the Hammer backup in Nexus number 70.
no
Wow.
kidding.
Yep, one of my very first published works.
Which
Yeah.
which compiled book is it in? You know?
I do not know which compiled
I
book.
got the first 5 of these.
It was in issue
Ooh.
70.
Actually, I
70.
might have the first 6 of these. 5 or 6 of these.
So whichever one, issue 70.
I don't think it
Cool.
even says.
Yeah, I don't. Unfortunately, I don't know the answer to that.
Well, thanks for nothing, Roland. Thanks a lot.
I have all the individual copies. I don't have the trade. Sorry.
Do you have one available of that issue? I want to see
Uh,
it. Going behind the green screen.
yeah, probably. I'm gonna turn my camera off here just a second.
Oh no!
So you don't see my butt as I go over there.
I'm gonna steal a spot while he's up there. While he's
I gotta do the same thing. I gotta get myself a green screen. Mike's got one. Roland's got one. Elliot, do you got one?
I've been wanting to get one, but I have my back facing the rest of the studio. I'm not like some of you guys that have like a wall behind you. I should have a wall. I might switch my setup around.
Dude, I have you know those the backdrop things for conventions,
Yeah,
right? So I have
yeah, but I don't have the. I'm facing
one of those over here.
Uh-huh.
I have my big, bookshelf thing here, which I have half of my green screen is clamped to that. I drag it behind me. I hang the middle from my chandelier, and then the green screen over to the other thing. It's like it's so rigged.
I was just talking about excellence, Michael, and you are the epitome of it.
It's a green screen, man.
I understand that. It's excellent, by the way.
The improvisation, though, in the problem solving. With kids, too. You're juggling with kids that could rip that thing down. Cats roaming around. The logistics go on.
Kevin Sharp says he's jealous. It looked like it's going to be cool. That's all Elliot had to say. But no, instead.
No, I'm so jealous, Michael.
Oh, there it is.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Here we
Oh,
go.
I'm so excited.
I'm so excited.
Oh.
Let's see.
Who drew that?
Rob Haynes, I think.
Oh, no kidding.
Don't think so. I mean, it just says Haynes. I think that's Rob Haynes.
What happened to him?
Sorry, Hugh
So-
Haynes. Hugh
Oh,
Haynes. So my the backup story that I did was drawn by Kent Burles.
Kent Burles.
He did a whole lot of Planet of the Apes. So you can see there's my name right
Roland Mann.
Yeah.
And that's your first published work?
there. It's my second actually, but yeah, it's amongst my first.
Wow. What year was that?
I think this would be 88.
I
Look
still
how
can't say
old
that.
we all are.
I know, dude.
Oh, this is actually says July 90.
Yeah, with
So-
with a number 70. That sounds.
Yeah.
It's much
Yeah,
later.
July 90. Which is why it's not my very first, because Cat and Mouse was first published in 88 and then 89. So
Where'd you publish it?
Punish it. Where'd you punish
you mean
it?
Cat and Mouse?
Yeah.
Because Cat and Mouse was published. I think I have that one right down here because I'm working on the new volume. Paul Glacy cover.
Ooh,
Oh, I love those.
those look so cool, man.
Yeah.
That's dope, man.
This was an aircell book. Aircell.
Oh, look at that. Yeah.
But it wasn't.
I owe you a cover, Roland. I have not forgotten, but you never remind me.
Because I don't want to be a pest.
I know, but
Yeah,
so much stuff just falls off my plate. If I don't get reminded, I don't do it.
Well, I will remind you.
Kung Fu Kitty is true. I am an enema. Hey,
So,
I like that a lot.
Cat and Mouse ran for about 2 years, and I'm actually working on a omnibus, and I hope to have that finished by the time I finish Cat and Mouse the new volume, right?
Woo!
Yeah,
Now you are selling Cat and Mouse 1 and 2 with 3, right?
I am. Yes,
Okay.
yes. So if you want 1 and 2, you can get them.
Cool.
But yeah,
Can you put
but
the
I mean,
link in the chat again, Roland?
yeah, I'll be happy to.
Yeah,
Glad to.
keep it on, and make sure everybody back or signs up for Roland's new issue of Cat and Mouse. You can get 1 and 2 with it,
Yes.
and Roland doesn't charge an arm and a leg either.
I do not. Nope. And here's the other thing, Mike. Can I say it? Can I say it? The books are done.
I just had to get rid of that guy.
Wow.
Bragging about his books being done. This guy.
Wow.
I so desperately wanted to get Lone Star 3 done before I solicit it, before I do the Indiegogo or whatever I end up doing with it. But I don't want to push it past October.
Yeah.
And I won't be done with it by October. Right. And I don't want to put it off until next year, but I've been so busy, and I've been, trying to get the secret project done. And
so here's a question for you. Are you going to ever offer them to the direct market?
What direct market?
Well,
Nick C for $5 says, Roland, why did Marvel purchase Malibu? There was a rumor about the coloring process and paper stock, but I don't know if that's true. That's what I always understood.
Nah, that's absolutely not true. Somehow, somewhere.
For a moment, Malibu did have the most advanced coloring house.
Oh, absolutely.
In the industry.
Absolutely. But Marvel hated it.
What?
Well, because they were old school. Now, they grew to like it once they discovered what could happen. But at the initial purchase, they absolutely hated it. So the coloring department had nothing to do with it. I'll tell you the real reason, and you're just going to laugh because it's stupid, okay? So the truth is, Malibu, because the industry was already beginning to suffer declining sales, Malibu was experiencing some pain in those areas. Malibu had talked to a host of potential backers. At one point in time, I thought Paramount Pictures was going to buy us. I thought I was going to be a Paramount Pictures comics editor. They loved what we were doing with the Star Trek books. No, they loved the Star Trek books, and so they liked what we were doing more than they liked what DC was doing. And so they're like, what they had told us was once the license was up with DC, they were going to give us a license to do all of the Star Trek books. And then the idea was like, oh, we need investment. So we got some along the ways while I was there. We got a couple different investors. Anyway. The long-standing feud between Marvel and DC is real. So DC kind of said, hey, because, everybody's kind of friendly up there. They said, hey, you guys for sale? And Malibu said, we'll talk. Let's talk. And so over this period of about 6 months, suits and ties were in the offices. They were doing what's called due diligence. Essentially what they were doing, where they were looking at our equipment, they were looking at our offices, they were examining our books. They were trying to determine whether we were a good investment or not, right? And the idea was that Malibu was the number 3 or 4 publisher at the time. All depended on what Dark Horse published that month. If they published an Aliens or Predator, we were number 4. If they didn't, we were number 3. And so what happened though? So this is like 6 months period of time. Marvel got wind of it. Flew out there and said, what's DC offering you? And the price came up, and he said, we're going to double it. And Malibu said, sold. That happened all in about 2 weeks. So it had zero to do with the coloring department. It had everything to do with corporate maneuvering.
What year was that?
That was 90. So no. The purchase was 94.
94.
Yeah.
And they bought Toy Biz.
Yeah. Oh, so here's the other part that when people are like, well, are you sure, Roland? Okay, here's the other things you got to keep in mind. Marvel had just went public, right? So they hadn't been a public entity for very long. They had just gone public. they were growing. They got a new president or CEO or whatever it is. And so what he has to do to his shareholders is say, look, I'm growing the company. I bought Malibu. I bought Panini stickers. I bought Heroes World.
Was
right?
that
So
Perlmutter? That was like Perlmutter, right? No.
No. That was crap. Terry. This is the guy that you've heard the Image guys talk about. He's the guy from Alabama. Terry, what is his name? I got along with him great. I can't remember what his name is now. Terry something. Terry Stewart. Terry Stewart?
I don't know.
I don't remember now. Terry something. Anyway, so what happens, right? So he's out there going, look at all these great things I'm doing. I'm growing the company. We're growing your empire. Fast forward a couple of years, the industry's tanking. Everybody's losing money hand over fist. They fire the guy, right? A new guy comes in. What does the new guy do? As soon as they come in, they trim the fat. So Heroes World gets trimmed. I'm not sure about Panini stickers. I think Panini stickers did too. And Malibu Comics gets cut, which is why Malibu died. It was all Terry Stewart. That's right. So it was all just corporate maneuvering, and it was coloring department had nothing to do with it.
Oh wow, that's funny. I've been under that delusion for 20 years.
Yep. Yeah. You know what? Here's the thing. You and thousands upon thousands of others. I can't tell you the number of times people come up to me and say, "Yeah, shame Marvel had to buy the coloring department." I'm like, look, if Marvel just wanted the coloring department, they could have hit our top colorist and said, "Hey, I'm going to pay you a buttload of money.
Yeah.
Come start it would have been a whole lot cheaper to do that than to buy the company." Image poached colorist about every other week. They did until finally someone in the administration.
Do you mean anyone in particular?
I'm just saying Image is all I'm saying.
There was one person who's fairly famous for poaching.
I'm just saying Image because I like the person, right?
Broad brush and Image there. We'll just say it was Eric Larson and move on.
So anyway, so what happened is the administration said, hey, don't take any more calls from anonymous people and no more image poaching. And so they really began to put up a wall for the colorists, because what would happen is they would call and say, hey, who colored this page here? Right? They would talk to one of our colorists and they would say, who colored that page? And they would tell them and go, let me talk to him. And then they would say, hey, you want to come work for us? Yeah.
Like, yeah, of course.
Another rumor that I've always accepted, but you can correct me if you think it's false, is that they didn't stick it out with the Malibu characters. I mean, they still own Malibu, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
They didn't stick it out because they have to pay the creators royalties. I mean, like, the creators still have a greater percentage of ownership or royalty or whatever than a standard Marvel contract.
So there's a little truth in that, but here's what the Malibu, the Ultraverse contract was based off of DC's creator contracts, right? DC around this time, late '80s, something like that. DC created a participation royalty or something. I forget exactly what it's called, right? But if you created a character at DC, then you got participation money. Well, the Malibu, the Ultraverse contracts were based off of those, so they were very similar in that. So here's the thing that if you ever hear like Tom Mason or you ever hear some of these the other administrators from Malibu say, here's the deal, right? So the percentages that the Ultraverse creators got they're not that big. Okay, they're not prohibitively large. And I've heard people at Marvel say, and I'm not going to use any names, I've heard people at Marvel say that the agreements were too convoluted. Malibu had an accounting department of about 3, right? and they knew how to do it.
I'm just going to throw Bob Harris under the bus here.
You're going to tell me that the multi-corporation of Marvel accountants can't figure that out? That's just BS. You know? Yeah. It's just no. There's more. how can I say this? You're streaming live, so there's more. There's more to be said. There are underlying reasons as to why they won't publish Malibu. But it has nothing to do with the agreements and nothing to do with the royalties or the contracts. That's an excuse they use.
Gotcha.
It has to do with personalities. I'll just leave it at that.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. It's always that.
Oh, well.
It's always that way, right?
Yeah.
It always
It
comes
is.
down to that garbage.
Bro, I
Egos.
took a trip to Orlando just to talk about this over coffee.
Yeah, that's right. You live near me, don't you?
Yeah, in Tampa. I live in Tampa.
Yeah, man, absolutely.
Did you hear about was it Joe Kubert? He was sending students over. Steve Bissett was talking about Kubert was sending his students over to DC to get work because he's like, "Oh, you're ready. I'll send you over to some editors," and he would never be able to get hired. And then one of the editors said to Steve Bissett, "Like, hey, come over here for a second." And he's like, "I just want to let you know, you guys can show your stuff, but you're never going to get hired. Like, they're never going to hire any Kubert's students." And he's like, "What? Why?" And he goes, "Because the guy who was the editor, I can't remember the name at the time, editor-in-chief, like, did not hit a beef with Joe Kubert."
Joe?
And
What?
yeah, and he wouldn't hire anybody. And so, like,
Who could have a beef with Joe?
yeah,
Who
that's
was
what I was thinking. I can't remember who it was, the DC, but Steve Bissett was telling the story, and he said, and we just were like,
what year was it?
I can't remember. It might have been the 70s or later in the 80s. It was Steve Bissett was still like, starting out. So whenever that would be, but he was saying, yeah, he said,
Was that Archie Goodwin at that time?
I don't know. It was some. It might have been. I don't know. I don't want to say for certain because I'm not sure. But he said he was afraid to tell like Kubert because he said Kubert's like, "So how'd it go?" And he was like, "No, I didn't get anything." And he was like, "What? You didn't get anything?" He's like, he was like, "You're good." He's like, "What the heck?" And then I didn't know what to tell him because I don't want to be like, "Hey, he doesn't like you," and anybody who's affiliated with you. And I'm like, that was kind of like surprised me, but also showed me, that it's like a lot to do with personality. If someone doesn't like you, then your friends get screwed because they don't like you. I'm like, dude, that's so petty, man.
Isn't that
it's so petty.
It's the same problem now.
Yeah, it is. It's it's funny because I teach creative writing and therefore about 2 years I would get a comic writer to come speak to my class about once a month, and at the end of they've just been an hour answering, basically fielding questions from the students. At the end of the hour, I would usually say, "Hey, is there anything that you want to, any piece of advice or anything like that?" Now, the terminology was always different, but essentially, every one of them said, "Don't be a jerk."
I never got that advice. Hey, Cult of Altus for
I told you that. You ignored me. Like, Mike, let me pencil. Roland, let me pencil.
Stars and Monster Hunt from the MAGA campaign. Is there a timetable for when those are getting sent out? Just wondering. If that's all you bought, I may send those out pretty soon here. But if you also bought MAGA, and I'm going to combine the shipment, then I'm hopefully going to print on MAGA this week coming up. I was supposed to get just hopefully this week. So, but yeah, let me know if you didn't buy anything else, then I'll try to get it out this week. Hey,
Sweet.
guys, can you take over for a second? I'm going to go grab something to drink.
Yeah. All right.
So any more stories, any more gossipy stories? Not gossipy, but insightful, professional, help.
I like
for
the
a-
guy.
Oh, I have one of the best Bill Willingham stories ever.
Oh,
Yeah, you know Bill Willingham, right?
is that the Stray Bullets?
Everybody, what's that?
No, that's someone else. Willingham. I know that name, but I can't remember the work right now.
Yeah, Fables.
Oh yeah, Fables. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, of course. I am a Willingham fan from the Elementals.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Wow,
he did the Elementals, which was one of my favorite indie comics in the 80s.
Is that Kamiko?
Yes,
Yeah.
Yeah, Kamiko. So now here's the interesting thing. This is kind of what made me think about this story and this guy, because this person has been in the news again lately via Rob Liefeld. And so what happens is Kamiko owes Bill Willingham money, right? And Willingham is down in somewhere in Texas or Oklahoma. I don't know exactly. Somewhere down in that area, right? Kamiko their offices are located up in Chicago. And so as publishers were wont to do back then, or some publishers, Willingham would say, hey, you owe me money for this. And they would say, oh, the check is in the mail. Just send us the next stuff, right? And, of course, the check never came. And so this goes on for a little bit, and I don't know exactly how long, but apparently they began to owe Willingham a considerable amount of money. So he drives to Chicago, goes into the Kamiko offices and says, I'm here to get my money that you owe me. And the guy says, well, let me write you a check. He goes, nope, I'm not going to take a check because it's going to bounce. And he goes, well, I don't have that kind of cash sitting around in the office, right? And then he says, so Bill Willingham says, fine, I'll take this fax machine. And he grabs the fax machine, yanks it out of the wall. And of course, Andrew, the publisher for Kamiko, goes, no, you can't do that. We need the fax machine. No, you can't have that. You can't have that, right? And he goes, well, then give me my money. And he's like, I don't have that kind of money. What do you want me to do? He goes, I can write you a check. He goes, oh, here's what we're going to do. We're going to go to the bank, and you're going to get the money out, and you're going to hand me the cash. So,
Wow.
so the guy from Kamiko is walking with Bill Willingham with a fax machine under his arm in the streets of Chicago to the bank.
That's awesome.
Oh yeah.
That's gangster, man. Original gangster. OG. He's like,
yeah, and the
pay
weird
me.
thing is, right, this guy's back in the screwing people again, and it's a shame.
There was it Frank Frazetta? He was said there was one guy who would always screw people when they're paying them, and people hated him. And Frank Frazetta was like, "No, he's okay as long as you know how to deal with him." Because he's like, you just got to know when he's BSing you and just like say, "Nope, you give me the money now." And he's like, "All right." But man, I'm telling you, I got in a situation where I didn't know what to do because I was working for Humanoids Publishing, and I was working on the last book in the 3 novel series, and they owed me money, and I'm still doing pages, and I'm like, I'm not seeing anything, and it's backing up, and I'm like, should I keep working on this? And then I'm like, finally, I'm like, dude, you know what? I go, I'm not working, and then I'm not working on it. So it was like a couple months went by, and I wasn't working on it, but I needed money. I had no money coming in, so I had to get like a part-time job. I was living in Las Vegas and on the Strip, right? And then so I'm working on that, and all of a sudden they contacted me and they go, like, we had to file bankrupt, Chapter 11 or whatever. And so then anyway, then they came back to me like a few months later, and they go, look, we need you to, if you could finish the book. I mean. And I think I just said, you know what, I'll just finish it up because it's almost done anyway. And I just finished it up, and they owed me like $3,000, right? And I was like, okay. And I thought I'll never see that money. And then all of a sudden they called me up and they're like, hey, where's your address again? We want to send you a check, And I'm like, what? And they go, well, you get $3,000. I was like, yeah. And then I go, cool. And they go, oh, by the way, we got this contract for you to sign for a movie option for one of the books. I'm like, oh, no wonder. Okay.
Yeah.
I never would have seen that money. Yeah, if I wouldn't have got it optioned. And I was like,
Kamiko, I've worked, for a bunch of different independent companies. Kamiko's the only company that still owes me money.
Are they still around?
Wait, it's the only company what?
That still owes me money.
Oh.
Yep. Oh, really? See,
Yep.
Man.
Yep, I did actually in the early 90s. I did some Elemental spinoffs. They had, the Elementals were the 4 Elementals, obviously, and they did a miniseries for each of them. And I did the Vortex miniseries with Stephen Butler. And they still owe me money for scripts that I wrote. Yep.
Oh.
Yeah, see, as the people don't know about that stuff because like, oh, they pay you and plus it's like, what do you say? Like, especially in the industry, you can't be like trash talking people. So it's like you're just over a barrel basically, and they kind of know it. It's like even if you're telling the truth and you're saying what they did to you, it's like all of a sudden you're like, oh, it doesn't look good on you.
Everyone in the chat seems to have some issue with me eating pizza. What's your problem, people?
I should go take
jealousy.
The fax machine. Yeah, they all want
jealous. Yeah, you should take the fax machine. Yeah. You just went through the refrigerator.
Zippy said, "Go take their fax machine." Yeah, I should.
You should. I would have went to their fridge and they go, okay, what you got in here? I'm taking. I haven't eaten in a while. I'm taking whatever you got in here.
I'm hungry.
Some Neapolitan ice cream. I'm taking that.
No, if it wasn't
Coffee
for
machine.
a fax machine, I never would have gotten inking work at Malibu.
This is true.
Oh,
I used to get a lot of stuff from you via fax.
wow.
Chris, I
Yep.
told this story before. Maybe I
I-
should go into it again, but
I
Yeah.
also used to get a lot of unsolicited pages from you,
well,
and you know,
man.
a bunch of them. A bunch of them got used.
That, what was it? I think the gravestone I did with the Sam Keith style was just, I just sent that in because, right?
Yeah,
And that got published.
yeah, that was a nice piece. Yeah.
Let me
Yeah,
see if
so,
I-
so the story is, people, right? So what would happen is Mike was inking the protectors. And, of course, you know, I would get pages from Mike. And every time I'd get the pages that Mike was inking, there would be a couple, one to three, something like that. Here I did this, if you can find a place for it. Here I did this of Gravestone. Here I did this of Man of War. Here I did this of Ferret. Right? Mike was just drawing all these things and sending them to me. I'm like, I had a stack of stuff. That's okay. This is from Mike that I haven't paid for yet. That if
that's awesome.
if we decide to use, see, that was a nice piece.
Whoa, it's almost like kind of like a feeling of what's his name?
Sam Keith.
Yeah.
I was doing
That's
a straight up
awesome.
Sam Keith thing.
That's awesome.
It's the
That
only
is
Sam
awesome.
Keith thing I've ever done.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Dude, Sam Keith is awesome, man. I like his stuff too.
Yeah.
I was like, I still got issues of of the Max.
And then you want to see something funny? I don't know if you know this, Roland.
Oh,
Oh wow.
I inked that cover with a Sharpie.
No way, really?
Why'd you do that? You were like Matt Weldon in it right there. It's
I
called-
didn't know
called a-
nothing about no inking.
That's funny.
I was using G2s.
That's what I was saying. I didn't even. I was inking with Kohinoors and
Yeah.
like felt tip art pens I'd get at Aaron Brothers because I didn't know anything about inking. But Chris hired me as an inker
Mhm.
and then passed me along to Hank and Roland
Yep.
as an inker.
Yep.
And that's why I was always sending them stuff that I'd actually drawn because I'm like, Chris said he was going to hire me as a penciler. And to his word, my first penciling work was doing the newsstand covers for the Malibu or for the Protectors books, which was awesome. My first penciling job out the gate is covers.
Covers. Yeah, that almost never happens.
Yeah, yeah.
But I wanted to be. I never wanted to be an inker. I wanted to be a penciler. But it was fortuitous because I got to be one of the best inkers in the industry. So what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Dude, I started off. I wanted to be a penciler and doing covers. I started off as a colorist. I had all these samples, and they're like, "You want to color?" Because they like my colors. I did my own illustration coloring. And they're like, "You want to do some colors?" And I'm like, "I just want work." So I'm like, "Yeah, I'll do."
Yeah.
Did some
Yeah.
Devil's Due.
Just let me in the door.
Yeah. And I was just started doing that, and then I got one cover. My first cover where I did colors and everything. The whole illustration was on the Inkle for humanoids. But they did that. It was like John DeFool, the main character, when he was younger or something like that. So it was supposed to be a prequel to Mobius's John DeFool and Joe Dorowski. And that was my first cover. And I was doing it on. I went out and I bought this tablet, and it wasn't even like a Wacom. It was like this cheap one with a wire that attached to the pen. So it was like it wasn't wireless pen. It was like it looked like a Playmates like tablet. And I did the whole cover on that.
Wow.
And it was so lackluster that the guy who was like the Jerry Frizen was like one of the art directors on it. He added like flames, torches in the background. It gave it mood lighting and everything. It looked pretty cool. But yeah, that was my first one. And it's funny, the guy who called me up, the editor, to get me work on that was David Wool. And like he's funny is he called me up maybe a couple years or 3 years before that. I showed him some work, and he was like, because he was at Top Cow, and he was just like, we're not really interested in that type of look, you know. And then all of a sudden he's calling me up for a cover, and they go like a few years later. Of course, he doesn't know who I am, but I was like, "That's awesome."
This is going to be slightly embarrassing, and now I totally understand why you didn't have me penciling any work.
Whoa! I've seen that cover before.
Yeah.
Whoa, that's awesome! I've seen it in the dollar bin.
That is the first pet cover I ever penciled.
Oh man, I gotta look for that now.
Yeah.
I still have the
That's
original.
awesome.
I still
Do
have
you
all
really?
these originals, Roland.
Dude,
All the Protectors originals.
man, listen. There's a bunch of Malibu nuts out there, and and when I say that, I mean that with the the with affection. But they might clamor over some of that stuff, dude.
Really?
Yep. There's this whole faction that there's a lot of them want to bring back the Ultraverse and stuff like that. But
My brother said he tried to forget about that cover. That cover is awesome. I got to tell you, that's iconic because when I see that, I just was like, I've seen that cover and it's stuck in my head.
Yep.
So no matter what,
There's one of them. I don't remember. Number 6.
That's pretty good.
Oh,
Mike.
which is that number 6 that you did for them, or which number?
Yeah, it's number 6. I did all. How many did I do? Like I don't even.
I can't answer that. I don't know the answer to it. But Protectors ran for either 18 or 19 issues.
I did it for a couple years, right?
Yeah. And I think we.
And then I was always inking all the Tom Duranic covers.
Yeah.
Oh,
This
Mike,
one and this one.
Mike, my brother said he loved that Sam Keith style one you did too. He had that one.
Thanks.
That's awesome. I didn't even know it was you.
See what else I did. This famous.
Yep.
I remember that one.
Mhm.
It's actual die cut hole, right?
Yep. Hole drilled all
Yeah,
the way.
I
through
remember
it,
that
the
one.
book.
That is so cool. I remember that one. I was looking through it just like maybe a few months ago in the back of show. Like, what?
Yeah, someone just brought that up on Twitter the other day.
Yeah, I saw that, and they were like making fun of it. I'm like, you know what? It was easy to make fun of now, but that thing sold like crazy back then because people were like, "Oh, that's so cool! Look,
Yeah, it's
the hole
new.
all the way through the comic book."
What about
Yeah,
Vinland?
But yeah,
I think that
Oh,
one,
that's awesome.
yeah, that's Dean Zachary.
the entire comic was die cut.
Yes, it was
Oh, that's awesome.
the whole thing. And there's a version of that cover that had the ferret is green foil, the logo.
Oh, yeah. I think so.
Mhm.
Let's see. Where's the
That's an
first
awesome
one?
one.
This is one of my very first.
Oh,
Yeah.
I remember that one. I remember.
That
I've seen
was
that
a
one.
one shot. Yeah, that was a one shot of kind of testing the waters.
You did
of
that
the ferret.
cover?
I did. No, I inked it over Tom Duranic.
Oh, I remember that
And then,
cover too.
The other one was Arrow. This was actually the very first. If I can
And
find
Roland,
it.
were you writing those too?
I wrote the arrow.
Oh, cool.
Really,
Yep.
the one that I did the Tom Duranic. This one right here.
Yep, I wrote that one.
No way.
Cool.
Yep.
That's awesome.
I remember that. I inked this cover. I believe I have this cover. This
I've got an arrow for you too, pal.
why I remember
That's
it so,
awesome.
because when I saw it in previews, a little 1-inch tall image
Uh-huh.
I inked. I was like, I've made it.
That's
I'm in
awesome.
previews. Yeah, yep, I wrote that one.
No way, dude.
That's
Yep.
cool. Reunited and it feels so good.
That was just before I went out to become an editor for Malibu. I did that, and then it was shortly after that they hired me to come edit the line.
And who was the artist on this?
Lee Motor, if I'm not
Lee
mistaken.
Motor, who got really freaking good.
Yep.
Remoter? Man, that's a cool name. That's like cool names, man. It's like, what happened to all the cool names, you know? The Motor. Roland, even, man, Roland's cool. Roland Mann, right?
Yeah, Roland Mann.
See, that's a freaking cool name. That's a name you can't forget.
And what Mike just did is pretty much the way he addressed me every time he called.
Roland
Oh,
Man.
really? Roland Man? Like, hey, Roland Man.
Crazy.
Every time I call Randy Green, is the first thing I say. Randy Green.
Oh, that's funny. Randy Green. Wait, I was gonna say, did you guys work there? Was James Hudnall working there at the same time when you guys were working there? I can't remember. I know when you were working there, right?
Ultraverse.
But Mike, Mike was there too, yeah. Because he was
I
doing
was-
hard case, right?
I mean, I wasn't there. I wasn't up in Thousand Oaks. I lived in San Diego at the time. Well, San Jose and then San Diego.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
That's cool.
I like what Hyper Potato said.
Mike should draw a cat and mouse cover. Please, I'm
Oh,
supposed
yeah.
to. I just
That's right.
things
That's-
fall off my plate, and Roland isn't the type to harass me about it. So
That's what he was alluding. That's what Mike was alluding to earlier.
yeah, his squeaky wheel has gotten no grease, but I do owe him a cover, so it'll happen.
Yeah, Cat and Mouse is awesome. I just bought a back issue of that like a few months ago again.
Really? Cool.
I go,
Out of the cheap boxes.
Yeah, I go through.
Yeah.
There's
I
a
totally
Japanese
forgot that's where I got it.
No, it's a Japanese bookstore.
Oh.
Oh, okay. Did someone say it in the chat?
Yeah.
Oh my god. Zippy, of course, Zippy was the one that said it.
Yeah, Matt, you can find most of the run of Cat and Mouse in the dollar boxes.
Dude, I found a few of them. I love them. I was like, I think the one I got, I think it was oh man, I just had his name on the tip of my tongue. I would like to stuff. He
Penciler?
passed away. He passed away a few
Oh.
years ago. I don't want to say Nolan, like not Nolan Graham.
So
He just passed away. Brent
Anderson.
Bifocal.
Just passed away.
Oh, Norm
Did he do
Brayfield.
something?
Yeah,
Did
he
he do
did.
something?
He did Prime.
Yeah, he did Prime, but he didn't do any Cat and Mouse. So
Oh, okay, I thought maybe he did
No.
something on it. Okay, no, okay. Yeah, see, I was like, remember the Prime was the big pump dude, and but I
Yeah.
remember Cat and Mouse because I like ninjas.
Yeah.
Ninjas are always my thing.
yeah.
So
yeah.
anything with ninjas
Yeah.
on, I grabbed the book.
Wait, Matt, have you heard my pitch for Cat and Mouse?
Whoa, there's a pitch?
Yeah. Oh man, because Matt mentioned ninjas, so I got to tell the pitch now, Mike.
Oh,
Pitch ahoy!
All right, so Cat and Mouse is a story of a guy who gets a telephone call from his ex-fiance, and she says, "Hey, my kid sister ran away. Would you go get her and bring her home?" It's his ex-fiance, so he doesn't really want to do it, but he's studying to be a police officer, so he goes to New Orleans, only to find out the kid's sister has been caught up in a human trafficking ring. So he has to figure out how to get kid's sister out of the human trafficking ring and get her home. And yes, there are ninjas involved.
Oh yeah, cool.
Oh, cool! Yeah, that's the Kickstarter exclusive for number 2, which was this one that I held up. Oh, you can't see it now. Yeah, that was a Kickstarter exclusive for number 2, volume 2. That's Dean Zachary art. Dean Zachary and Barb Kelberg from issue number 1. That's when he's discovering the human trafficking stuff. And that's the cover for number 1.
Dean, by the way,
Volume
the guy that did the ferret cover we were just showing.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm?
Yeah.
Dean was the interior artist on Ferret too, wasn't he?
Yep. He was the interior artist, Ferret, and then he ended up doing some Nightman for the Ultraverse. I want to say he did 5-6 issues of Nightman.
Too small.
That's
nice.
yeah.
It's Roland Mann.
Look at that guy.
Wow. Yeah. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy for my story right now.
Bad
She's
girl.
the bad gal. Sorry.
Oh,
She's
Bad
the
Ninja.
she's the one. She's the one doing the human trafficking.
And she's got her COVID mask on. That's very
Yes, she does.
that's some foresight right there.
And
Tell
that
you
is
what,
yeah.
These
That's,
guys are ready to go to Albertsons.
Oh,
What?
dude,
you know, I have the
their COVID
original
masks on.
colors of that now.
They have their masks on.
I love
Yeah.
that.
Elliot.
Paul Galusi is one of my favorites, man.
Oh,
Yep.
Albertsons. That's why I got lost there.
Oh man, dude.
Albertsons used to be a supermarket down here.
Yeah.
Sexy ninjas.
Yep. More ninjas.
Oh, the ninjas. And
Yep.
When if you got ninjas, you can need ninja stars.
That's right. There's throwing stars there. So see, there's a throwing star on the left hand side of that
The
panel.
Jewish ninja star.
Isn't that the Israeli Defense Force?
That's a page
Krav
from issue 2.
Krav Maga Ninja Star.
Yeah.
Ah!
Oh,
That's the
hey,
Man, and canals.
yeah, and
is
Mike
it
Zeck.
Simonson or no?
Mike
Is that Zach?
Yep,
Mike
I co-wrote a story that Mike Zeck drew. Yep.
Is that the cover by Zach then? Is that Zach's cover or no?
It looks like
No. Zeck didn't
Yeah.
color it now.
It almost looks like a Walt Simonson.
Zeck penciled it, and it was inked by Dennis Janke.
Janky.
Oh yeah.
That sounds familiar. That name too.
It was
I
very
would,
cool
I
to get
would
the.
kill to have Zek do a cover for Lone Star,
Oh,
but he
dude.
won't draw anything.
He's
He doesn't-
out he's out on the circuit selling all those prints.
Yeah, and just
Mhm.
doing. He'll only do like commissions. He doesn't want to do any more published work. I'm like,
Yeah.
what?
Who? Zach?
Yeah.
Really? Huh. That's right. He does
Super nice
recreation
guy,
of
though.
covers.
Maybe
Isn't
he's
his name like?
This is Paul Pletier, right?
Yes, sure was.
Wow.
Yep.
Paul's
Actually, Paul and I did a mini series called Demon's Tales, which was a cat and mouse spinoff, which was Paul's first paid work.
Is that the Badger?
There's the
too, or
Vortex miniseries that I did with Stephen Butler. I was mentioning the Elementals.
no?
Yeah,
Look at that.
but we're just taking a trip down.
A trip down memory lane.
That's a pencil page from issue number 2, Cat and Mouse, volume 2, the current one.
He's got 3 Nightcrawler tails.
He does.
Hey,
Oh.
Devil Dog, Shag.
Dean Zachary page. I don't know what that 257
Silver
was.
Storm.
Silver Storm, yep. That's
How did I manage to drag this up?
I don't have any. Well, I wrote that.
Miss Fury.
So this is what I thought Matt might have been referring to, because Lorene Haynes painted all these covers, and Lorene died a few years ago.
Hmm.
But yeah, that was the first Miss Fury, to my knowledge, since the 40s.
Oh.
Oh, really?
Yep. Well, this was done in '92 or something like that. But yeah,
Have you seen how Miss Fury's doing on Indiegogo?
I have not, but I know Billy's doing it.
Yeah. Last I checked, I think it was over 92,000.
Really? Wow. Well, I'm glad it's public domain because I'm using her again.
Yeah. Where is it? It is 93,500.
Wow.
Oh man.
Catwoman.
Is that on Kickstarter?
No, Indiegogo.
Indiegogo.
Oh, Indiegogo. Okay. Hmm.
Yeah.
All right.
Lorraine Haynes. That was Demon Tales by Paul Pelletier. That's the one I was mentioning.
There you go.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Looks like it's been recently.
That
Letter.
that is a new image. The interior is from the '90s, but that's a new image. Paul did that. He did that for the trade.
Oh, cool.
Yep.
Are you still in touch with him?
I am.
Got to get him to do a cover one of these.
He would love to, I'm sure.
Really?
Yeah.
It's cool seeing that.
Yeah, that's the original. That's the 1989 version of Cat and Mouse before it went to Aircell. That
Oh,
publisher published it in color, and then went out of business. And then we took it, and then Malibu picked us up, and then Aircell printed us in black and white for 2 years.
Hello, Kevin Sharp.
Hey, Kevin.
Kevin.
I wonder. I was trying to read that. Who that was?
Hey, what's up, everybody?
What's up?
This is my first time actually chatting with Roland, I think. So it's nice meeting you, Roland.
Yeah, nice to meet you too.
How
Good
is
to see you,
everybody
Kevin.
doing?
We're
Good.
Doing
Great.
we're taking a stroll down Roland Mann memory lane.
Yeah,
Cool.
I appreciate this. I'm going to keep popping in my my link to my Kickstarter coming up on Tuesday, Mike. You're helping me out a lot. I appreciate that.
Yeah, for sure, man. Here's
That's the That's the cover to Cat and Mouse #2, Volume 1. That's a Stephen Butler piece.
nice.
Cool.
Nice.
Yeah, Stephen was my roommate at the time.
No, really?
We went to college together, and that's how I met him. And we essentially we broke into comics together.
Wow. Cool.
Like old Baron and Steve Rude.
Yep. very much like them.
A comic. It's a
I
bad
did Planet
comic
of the Apes
reviews.
miniseries.
Oh, nice. I like that cover too.
Yeah, that's
Is it
Stephen
bad?
Butler cover.
Oh.
He did. It was a 4-issue miniseries, and he did all 4 of the covers, and they're really good. That's my favorite. Yeah, I did a Wizard of Oz adaptation
Oh.
for an Indian company. They paid me faster than anyone I have ever worked for.
Whoa.
I kid you not.
Rupees. That was
No. I submitted my invoice to them, and they sent me PayPal within 24 hours.
Oh wow.
I know, it's crazy. Yeah, I wanted to do more work for them.
Fully funded in just 48 hours.
That's
Roll it.
right. Woo-hoo.
Nice.
That was for the volume 2, issue 1, which is oh yeah, you can see me now. Which is this one right here. Woo-hoo.
There it is.
Yep.
What's this one? Number 5.
Yep, that was volume 1, number 5. So
MB. Who's
Just
M-
I'm sorry, Mike. Go ahead.
I just said who's MB?
Mitch Bird.
Mitch Bird. All right.
Mhm.
Well,
This latest iteration, is it does it pick up where this first volume left off?
No, it does not. I thought since it's been so many years, I thought about, well, do I want to do this continue, or do I want to do something? What? And so I just decided I would keep the spirit. I would keep the tone. There's that piece colored. But no, these are brand new characters, and you don't have to have read the first volume to know this volume. There are secondary characters that looks just like me, doesn't it? There are secondary characters in the book, though, that are also from the first volume. So, but the main characters are brand new, so it's a brand new storyline.
Nice.
that's not supposed to be me, is it?
Yeah,
Why not?
All right. Just checking.
that's one of my favorite covers. There, we put that on the T-shirt.
This one right here?
Yeah. The I think that's issue 8.
Oh yeah.
Maybe Human says, don't you think the comic industry has been abusing the consumer by releasing the same content with variant covers over and over? I'm not of that mind. I think, it's a free market. If people don't want to buy more than one cover, don't buy more than one cover.
I think as long as publishers aren't trying to trick anybody,
Yeah.
then I think that's fine.
Look
I
at
like-
that. Nails on
I
that
like
guy.
choosing.
Mm-hmm.
I like choosing which covers to get if they do it at the same
Mhm.
time, type of thing.
Yeah. I mean, what was it? Marvel released something like 40 or 50 covers for Fantasy 4 number 1.
I don't know.
Ah,
Oh, it was nuts.
Probably
yeah, that's
44.
big.
Well, that's a popular thing now in crowdfunding too. A lot of people are doing
Yeah.
that. I think this is legitimate. I think.
Well, I do it because that seems to be what backers want.
Yeah, to choose.
Look,
Yep.
some backers want every cover you're going to do. Some backers
Yep.
will be like, do 20. I'll buy all 20. And then
Yeah.
some backers are like, just do one. I just want one.
Yep.
Well, the one that's going to buy the one is only going to buy one.
Yep.
So
And the one that wants them all can buy them all.
that's right.
And that's
Right.
the beauty of the system.
And the guy that wants one won't not buy one because there's two.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
It's
Think
a
you're cycling
win-win.
back to the beginning there.
Yeah, I think we're cycling. Yeah, we're
Yeah.
cycling. All right. No more of this.
I appreciate that, Mike.
Troop
I'm
zone.
going to put the link in again. No, Matter will not make a cameo in the new Cat and Mouse book. No.
It's,
Special guest.
Roland has his own version. Her name is Dudette.
Dudette.
Dudra.
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 Dudra. Dudra.
Duder.
Dudra.
Kevin Sharp, tell us what's up, man. You just popping in? He's working
Kevin?
hard at work.
Yeah, he's
What,
muted.
Kevin?
Too.
Call him up.
Hey, sorry about that. I had to mute because I got a little background bleed. I don't know if you can hear it, but my daughter's TV is playing It's loud enough to where you can hear it out here. I didn't know if it was bleeding
Cannot hear
through
it.
for you guys.
Nope.
Oh,
Good
okay,
to go.
great, awesome.
By the way, that
Sweet.
squinched up eye is a little too far to the left on that first panel.
Oh, this one right here. Oh, okay, I'll get it.
I thought he was going to go, you mean this one right here with my brush? Yeah? Shut up, Mike.
Zippy
Oh,
says,
we're using Uber paper.
Oh yeah.
Uber fancy. The Kuber
It was
store.
a Christmas present. Somebody had asked me, it's like, well, what do you want for Christmas? I was like, I really can't think of anything. And then I was like, well, I've got the book I'm working on, and maybe I could use some paper. And they were like, oh, okay, well, what kind of paper should I order? And I was like, well, if you want to, you can get me some of this nifty Kubert School Strathmore Series 400 paper. And that's pretty much it.
but you realize that means now you will never get work at DC in the 80s.
So,
That's what we were talking about, yeah.
well, that's okay. It doesn't
editor
seem
was-
like I'm getting much work from them nowadays anyway, so I don't know. I'm not hurting.
You're too good.
I'm not too worried about it.
You're too
Is
good
that
for them.
character you're drawing called the Crimson Cock?
What?
Is it?
No, this is going to be a battle cockatiel. So
Battle Cockatiel. Not,
That is
not
awesome.
the Crimson Cockatiel.
no, not the crimson cockatiel, but
That's just a little weird for me.
although I'll
Yeah.
take it under advisement.
I've got that pencil, Kevin. That same pencil, man. That's
Oh,
nice
the
piece.
graph gear, yeah.
That's another fancy pencil there, man. Fancy paper, fancy pencils, showing off. Fancy art.
I've been using them for a while. I want something reliable instead of having the lead get jammed in them. Because a lot of
Dude,
times,
those are.
That's the graph gear.
Oh, Mike.
yeah, there you go.
Mike's. Yeah, dude, those pencils are like 20 something bucks, right?
What? I
Yeah.
have two of these.
The one that I got one just like that one's a little different than mine, but I got the one that's just like the same grip as Kevin's, and it's like
Oh,
20
really?
something. It's heavy. It's solid metal, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, no,
it's
this
heavy.
part back here is plastic, but this is all metal here.
Okay, because I think Kevin's is solid. I think the one the one I have. It's heavy
Yeah.
metal.
I'd
It's
have
so
one
metal.
also
A
because
lot of these pencils, like it's just like this tip part right here is metal. But yeah, this whole thing, I mean, you could load this in a gun and shoot it at somebody.
You can melt it down for a silver bullet.
yeah, and if you could see this on the screen, these little silicone little grip things,
Yeah.
my cockatiels would climb on my hand while I'm drawing and try to chew these out of there.
Whoa.
Yeah, they would see it, and for whatever reason, they were just mystified by it and would try to pick these up. You can actually see there's a little where one got
Oh
tore out.
man.
Yeah, it's crazy. They'll just find
funny.
the weirdest things.
I had something similar to that, but it wasn't cockatiel, it was JoJo. He would
The
just
rubber.
rip any kind of rubber he could find. He's eaten 1,000 earbuds. He'll
Oh my
rip
gosh.
all the rubber off of all of my. I have
Oh,
Is he okay? I mean, it wasn't.
all gone.
oh my god.
Oh no!
The
Oh
kid
my
loves
gosh.
to chew on rubber, so
My Saints
That's
did
funny.
controllers.
Erasers are all gone.
All our PS3 controllers.
Oh.
were-
oh geez, he's ruined so many Xbox controllers.
Oh, man.
All the
Yeah.
on the thumb, the joystick parts are gone.
Oh man!
That's awesome, Elliot. I love that face, that concave
That's nice.
face with the nose.
Thank you.
Oh,
man.
sweet.
Yeah, but that eyeball's a little too far to the.
That's how it's supposed to look you.
Oh no.
He says with the ink brush.
All right.
This one?
Mike, it's almost 2:30 a.m. my time. I gotta bail.
Oh,
All right, Roland. Thanks
I-
for showing up. Thanks for
Hey,
hanging out.
absolutely, man. I appreciate you.
Yeah.
Appreciate you sending me the invite. I enjoyed the heck out of it.
You got it, brother.
All right.
fun.
Good evening,
All right. Good night,
Roland
good night,
Mann.
everyone.
Be good,
hey,
Roland.
Roland.
Have a good night, man.
All right. Thank you.
Laters.
Bye bye.
And then there were four.
Yeah, I met Roland on when I think I was live streaming with James at the same time with Roland once, you know,
On my
a year or so. Yeah, it might have been, or it might have been. I think it might have been James because he was like interviewing different people. Like he interviewed like Mike Barron and I think Chuck Dixon, and he was trying to start doing interviews like on his channel. So, but yeah, Roland. It's funny is I knew because of the comics Malibu. I'm like, yeah, I remember Cat and Mouse. I bought a back issue of that recently. And the same thing when you had that other artist on your channel on Drawn and Quartered. He did Punisher back in the 90s, I think it was. Is he Chinese artist?
Who?
Remember he did that comic heavy metal one that you helped promote Kickstarter, I think it was.
Oh, Heavy Metal Militia.
Metal Militia, that's it. Yeah.
Why win?
Yeah, I just bought his like a back issue of his Punisher comic like the week before you had him on. I'm like, dude, I know that. It's like, what's the odds?
I don't know, man.
I just saw his art and I was like, that's so cool looking. It's so different. I'm like, I'm surprised Marvel like they tried so many different styles out, like really cool styles back in the day. I know some guys who rip on 90s comics, like 90s comics were all worthless. I'm like, dude, those are some awesome stuff going on, man. Some like cool things.
Sorry, that was
it's so cool.
That was my channel.
No, now
everything in the 90s was trash.
No, now it is. Like now, man. I literally pick up comics and I feel like I'm weeping into the pages. It's so sad. Look what they did to freaking Wolverine. Look what they did to this.
Everybody's saying good night, Zippy.
No,
good night, Zippy. See you, Zippy.
Bye, Zippy.
See you, Zippy.
I think that modern comics may not be as exciting, but I think a lot of it's solid. It's just I'm not 90s modern comics. A lot of it's solid. It's the 90s stuff was just ridiculous. Did you see the cover? Just kidding.
Oh.
Say what?
He's getting back at you for that left eye comment.
No, I'm serious though. I feel like the exaggerations weren't just they just were too far. They went weird.
Yeah, that was awesome. That's what I love, man.
I
love that.
It was a time of high experimentation.
Yeah, it was awesome.
I
missed that, man. They had
looking at Rob's stuff. It's like I was not a fan of Rob's stuff, but I appreciate that what he was trying to do. Right? It's like I wasn't a fan of Jack Kirby's stuff back in the day either, because I was just so hung up on everything being anatomically correct.
Yeah.
But I see what Rob was, because you go back and you look at his old Hawk and Dove stuff. His anatomy is way better on his old stuff.
Yep.
But he was deliberately trying to stylize stuff and just make it full of energy and flash and electricity, which I was hoping for something where you could do that and be a little more anatomically correct. But that was a specific choice he was making. It's not like he didn't know how to draw or something.
Right.
I like that though, man. I miss that because it's like, it's funny as now I'm like, for instance, like I was always obsessed with trying to do really good anatomy, and I was always just trying to do that, and then that was my whole thing. It's classic anatomy. I was like Andrew Loomis books. I was studying anatomy, muscles, and everything, and then I realized I'm never gonna. I mean, if I wanted to think of the epitome of like cool anatomy and dynamic stuff, I would think Alex Ross already hit it, right? And I'm like, I'm not going to break any new ground, but I'm like, you know what? I found more entertainment in making weird faces and weird, more cartoony stuff that just is more freedom. It's more fun to me than just trying to be realistic, right? And so I can appreciate it,
That's different. What you're doing actually works. It's aesthetically solid. The stuff that was happening back then it was trash, man. It really was. It was.
Well, it depends on who it was.
It was exciting trash, but it was very trashy. There was so many weird tricks that were just used. It's ironic because just on this group alone, I mean, I'm not counting myself. You're pretty strong with your stuff. Mike is super tight, but Mike has that more classic style. Kevin, your stuff has some of the flair of those 90s techniques, but your stuff is tight, bro. It's like solid, good art, dude.
Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate that.
Like it's solid, like it's passable. No, I mean like it's a rock star stuff.
Thank you, dude.
It's just it's that other stuff that was happening there. I mean, they just were the ones to start it. I think without them, though, you wouldn't have, some of what you're doing there. Even, some of what I'm doing is inspired by the Matter Era stuff too. So I have some of it in here, but I'll be honest, man. I go back to that old Matter Era stuff, and it just wasn't that great, man.
Yeah,
The X-Men stuff.
yeah.
Some of it was cool. There was a point in that era where he was nailing it for a while in the X-Men, but the very first stuff, like, ugh. But
Deadpool and.
You know why he was doing it on a dead? Well, first of all, he was an Arthur Adams. He was trying to be Arthur Adams, and then when he got on X-Men, it was a grind. He hated the schedule. And then
those guys take forever to do pages too, right?
He could take as long as he freaking wanted, and he did.
Yeah.
And that's where he really blossomed.
Yeah.
And there's something to be said for just the more you did, the better you get too. I mean, it's like he was rough at the beginning and then harnessed it, and it evolved after time too.
Like I still struggle looking at like McFarlane stuff. I want to enjoy it so much.
Yeah.
I find more stuff that drives me crazy the more I look at it now. With the problem that Mike has, like I'm like, gosh, why is Peter Parker's eyes so about to fall off the side of the head? Why?
That was funny. It's like I actually started buying those comics more because I'm like, they're so entertaining to look at. Like as flawed as some of the like structure was or anatomy was, it was so dynamic. It was so emotionally like you were just emotionally involved. Like you just look at it and it leaves an impact on you, right? And so like it made me realize, you know what? There's some things that have a lasting impact on you even more than just solid art. It's like something about it's gotta. That's like with McFarlane in an interview. He said he would try to go like crazy. Like that's why he did Spider-Man doing those weird poses that were sometimes were just really not physically possible, right? Because he just like the hip would be out of joint, but he just did it just to be like try to be larger than life and make the page exciting. And I'm like, I actually see that now because even looking at it, I'm like, yeah, that's really bad. The hip is like totally out of the socket right there, right? The leg. But it's like, it's funny as it does make an impact on you. And I realize that's what I want to do. So like every time I'm sitting down to draw, I'm always got to remind myself because I'm always stuck on trying to be anatomically correct. I'm like, dude, just go all out. Just do something that's freaky looking. And it has an impact on the viewer. They're like, what the? And I might even go, oh my gosh, that's off, but that's so cool looking. Yeah. So I'm like, it kind of helps free me up a little bit.
Mm-hmm. I'm still stuck in my ways. I can't.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
No, there's something that I'm like Mike. When I was growing up, I hated Jack Kirby. Hated him. I had one of those.
Yeah.
I bought a book. It was the like Great Battles Marvel. It was one of the early Fireside trade paperbacks that had collected a bunch of old school Marvel stuff. And my favorite of those was the John Burns Dark Phoenix saga. But back to Kirby though, it wasn't until like when I became a professional artist in an art department and I was looking at stuff. And the difference I think between Kirby and some of these other guys was that Kirby genuinely produced a style that was exciting, but he was also it was just a shorthand. He wasn't quite as I don't think he was as purposefully trying to create a style that was going to. I mean, the only thing he had at the time was Kurt Swan, the DC stiff, which and I didn't like Kurt Swan either. Years later, I have a book on Kurt Swan's art, like a celebration book thing after he died. My God, man, that guy was a fantastic draftsman.
He did Prince Valiant, right?
I don't know if he did. I know he did a lot of early Superman stuff. Well, not early, so most of the Silver Age Superman stuff. But it was brilliant. It was boring. It just was. But if you, from an illustration perspective, like it was gorgeous work, gorgeous line art, and all that stuff was really nice. Kirby threw me off, but then later on, though, again, Kirby was sick, right? He was like trying to tell as many stories as he could in a month. So he came up with a look that worked for him, and it communicated stuff. All of his stuff was fake. The muscles were fake. The the technology was fake, and in that way I celebrate him. The other stuff is like, then you get the same guys who are like drawing the giant pouches and the train sized guns, then telling you, I think you're off in your anatomy. Like, shut up, just draw. So I feel like they were super critical, but they weren't, and they weren't as good, and like, well, whatever. It's just, at the end of the day, like Jim Lee, he's a decent draftsman. It's just that everybody's always the same in the same pose, and they're all in the same, like, they're all super long and like weird. The teeth are always angry. They've got angry teeth. Rob's all, at least what I loved about McFarlane was that the characters acted, at least because they were so cartoony, they acted and they smiled, or they were sad, or they were confused. Jim Lee stuff is always like, or and then forget it.
Yeah.
Rob was like, ah! That's all they ever did. The teeth and the but there was some cool stuff. Like, I liked the spittle. That was fun. Things like that.
That's what it's funny is like Rob Liefeld too, like his work I like because it's so like you look at it and it's like it's this wild, like some of the character expressions or whatever and off, but it's like it's just so visceral, like there's a lot of these guys who just do stuff that was just like I said, it makes an emotional impact. Like what's his name? Teixeira, Mark Teixeira. Mm-hmm. Like I was looking through his old issues from the 90s of Sabretooth, and he did Wolverine and Sabretooth and Mystique's in it, and I'm like, you can tell he did it on deadline, and it's like so like because you do it on deadline, you got to make each thing, you can't be boring, right? You got to crank it out fast, so you're doing these like angles coming at you and really thick shadows and black space, and it's like it's just really cool looking. I'm like, whoa, it just has so much energy to it. But even if figures are off a little bit, but the guy can draw, like his structure, everything's solid, but sometimes the feet would be, the foreshortening wouldn't look right, but it would just, the emotional impact it made, I still like go and buy back issues. I sometimes I'll buy doubles because I'm like, do I have this? I don't know if I do, and then I'll buy it anyway, so I just look at it right then. It's $1. And I'm like, it's funny is I don't buy any new books really, like I'll always just go and buy the back issue bin for $1, and I go, that's great because that's the only ones I like to buy. It's mostly the back issue dollar books, and like I probably have to lay off because I got stacks and stacks of these books. But they're so, it's even art that I looked at when I was a kid, and I'm like, I didn't really like it, and then now I look at it and I go, oh, it's so funky or weird, and I'm like, I buy it because it's just, I don't know, like I said, it's just something about it, and I try to pick it apart and go, what is it about this I like? Because something's off. It's off art. Structure's not as good as my favorite artist, but something about it is appealing. I want to figure out what it is.
I think I know what it is. I think it's the texture. It's the thing that a lot of us like is when we say you can have a guy draw like trash, and then he has a bunch of little ticks everywhere, like Jim Lee does, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, look at the detail. Like the detail, it's just a bunch of little lines, and what it is that there's something about rhythm, like lines that have that, like I could do a straight line, right? Or I can do a line that has a line like thick and thin lines, and those are more attractive because it creates a rhythm and a pattern, and your brain picks that up. This is based on some actual research. Your brain picks that stuff. It's like music. The reason why people like anymore, like people like music with heavy rhythm, or even hip hop music. Or remember when house music or club music was
oh yeah,
it's somewhat appealing because you can pick up on the pattern, and it's like a subconscious thing. So what you're looking at, and if you look at what all those artists shared in the 90s, was the same technique of pattern, texture, and rhythm. And so just like music. And so the 90s had their comic book version of club music, and people were, it was a beat you could dance to. But there, some of the other ones, like if you look at the Alan Davises, the Bernie Wrightsons, those guys were like classical music. They were just symphonies with line, and it was incredible. That's why no matter who they are, they might be proud. They may not admit it in an interview, but almost everyone that I've ever talked to is like, yeah, man, those guys were amazing. They all worship the classic guys like that because
Yeah.
so
Yeah, those
great.
were the guys who were the solid. They were like the classic artists, and the other guys were like kind of like the young punk rock star guys who were into punk, and they were like more classical. But at the same time, it's like I like that you had both going. It's like like Alan Davis, like you said, like his stuff. Like I was buying back issues of Excalibur, and I was like, dude, his stuff on that was so crazy. I was like, oh man, I was just like trying to find what I could. He did some like
We can get a guy that does it so well, that does both, like Arthur Adams, for example.
Arthur Adams.
Yep.
He tells such a great story. He's got such a great great ability to emote with his characters, and at the same time he might be the one that kind of started all that with the textures, and in fact does it so well, just kills it with it. He just kills it. So it's it's pretty intense. It's to see that.
Yeah, man. See, that's what I'm saying. It's like what 90s. Oh, here Eric and Boyd said the 90s comics were admittedly hit and miss. Yet I can appreciate all Matt is saying. There were some jewels that showed up. Like Allred's Madman showing really bright, great stuff. Yeah, Madman too, man. Madman and the indie market in the 90s was cool.
I mean, it's not
like
everything. It's just all the stuff that Marvel and DC were pumping out just constantly.
Dude, yeah. I think it was Heads and Tails.
Who wants freaking Silver Sable?
But it's Head and Tails above what we're seeing now from these companies. You know what I mean? I mean, not just the sales, but the quality to me is just way better than what I'm seeing today. Like today, I pick up a book and it looks like some kid in 8th grade drew it. Like I'm like, what? Like, but it was like drawn by the 8th grade teacher who wanted to get into comics but wasn't good enough. But now they can because they have the right political stance or something. It's like
there's so much of that. What Costin is saying, and I think it's something that you get from. There's this kind of, where everything's kind of going to digital, and there's some of these artifacts and some of these programs will have these digital models and 3D models and stuff, and people are just tracing them, and and you get these artists that are just all they're doing is just tracing some of their posing models and some of these programs, and it's all lifeless and doesn't have a lot of energy because they're just trying to make a deadline. They don't have a lot of they don't have a lot of influences showing through when you're tracing a 3D model or something or a photograph or something like that.
Yeah, I mean there's good artists today who are working that I actually like, that I follow on Instagram, but it's like I don't buy the comics, but I follow them at their Instagram and save and look at some of the art, but then there's a lot that I look at that are just like, it looks like comic strip art in an X-Men comic. It's like, it shows just a side view of people talking, side view. It's just like, it just kind of reminds me of those indie comics from the 90s, some of them, where they're just like, technically might be nice drawing, but it's not X-Men. There's nothing dynamic or exciting about it. It's just kind of like bland.
Yeah. And then, like with the 90s, certain people, like if you go back and it was Jim Lee's, he evolved and got a certain style. But if you go back and look at like his Punisher war journals and things like that, where he had more, I wouldn't say it's realistic, but I think for the time, when you consider some of the other artists that were coming up and stuff, he had kind of a pseudo naturalistic style. And then eventually when he got teamed up with Scott Williams, it started to evolve into this shorthand for this faster, with the lines and the crazier hatch lines and things like that. And it was a marrying of those kind of styles with Scott coming on and finding their groove. Like Todd McFarlane, he had this goofy kind of crazy look to his faces and stuff, and he's always kind of had that, but it evolved. You really started to see that evolve on like for some of us who were following the Hulk at the time when he was doing the Hulk. His stuff was changing. They were giving him different inkers. And then finally on that issue with Wolverine, it was like a night and day. He started to ink his own stuff, and then he started to evolve and create these kind of shorthand and go crazier. And I think that's what happened with a lot of the 90s stuff, is there were extremes of people going to their stylistic boundaries and try to push what they were doing in terms of where can I take my style here and whatnot. And then at the same time, you had people like, Alex Ross. Alex Ross came to, became a big star during the 90s, and that was a more realistic style. So
yeah, that was different, right? I mean, because especially since it was like at the time it was people like Jim Lee McFarlane and Liefeld, and all of a sudden Alex Ross came on, and he was like super hyper realistic in comparison, right? I mean, it's because before McFarlane and Liefeld and all that, it was Neil Adams, right? He kind of like John Buscema was kind of like the standard of like, and yeah, they were more like classical illustrators, solid anatomy. So I still love John Buscema.
Yeah, and then there's just so many extremes.
A lot of people like they look to Alex Ross as some sort of a like art god or something. Alex Ross isn't that great of a painter. He's just the best comic book watercolorist.
Yeah.
It's like
he does.
You got. I know some phenomenal watercolorists, and the technique Alex Ross uses. I mean, it's good and it's functional, and it is the best basic watercolor painting you're going to see in comics usually.
He does gray, right? Grayscale.
Take him outside of this little niche of the art world, and there's not a lot to him.
Well, he does like the grayscale underpainting of everything first, and then he adds color overlay with the colors. And it's like, but he doesn't do. I think it's not grayscale. He uses like a blue. At least I've seen his process on some of the stuff he did, where he just would do gray tones, and that's what one guy does. The guy who does Bloodshot, I think he does work for Valiant. He does called Copic gray markers on his comic pages.
Miko?
Is it Lewis or something like that, or his name?
Are you talking about Louis LaRosa, something like that?
Yeah, LaRosa. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's gorgeous.
He uses all gray tone markers, like Copic markers, and then they do cover overlay on it over top of it. But he does everything all gray tone marker, and it's funny. Is like he's like pretty buff himself, and so he basically draws the characters. Like I think he poses for all the characters, because a lot of times you see his face in the characters.
Yeah, he's a nice guy too,
dude. Yeah, and his art's freaking awesome though. Like he'll do pages where it's not like strictly just like a photo references. At least some of it just looks like dynamic. I mean, you can tell when he does, but then he lets loose on some of the action, and you're like, oh, sweet.
I'll make sure that's who it is. He did Exo Manowar for a little while too.
Yeah, that's him.
Yeah.
Is that the right name though? I'm looking it up now.
I think it is.
Yeah, Louis LaRosa. I'm almost certain that's
yeah.
I am talking about.
I hate to be.
He is a nice guy too, because I talked to him on Twitter. He answers you back. He's nice. Nice guy.
Yeah, there were a few other painters, but it just kind of exploded for Alex for whatever reason. The combination of timing and all that other stuff. Because you had people like what was that did the Wolverine Havoc series? John J. Muth, I want to say, or
the painted one. You mean?
Yeah, the painted one, and then
does it Meltdown? Is that what it's called? Meltdown?
Yeah, that was just super over stylized though.
And then,
that was like super like stylistic, where it was like.
Yeah.
That was kind of the new kind of cool thing where, right? It was just like they were, like you said, experimental. They're trying things in comics, bringing fine art.
Yeah, it's kind of like that's how I saw the '90s. It was just like everybody. It was kind of experimental, and certain things. You saw more of the like the extreme studio stuff around, because that was just kind of the thing. But there were so many. If you think about it, so many people evolved and changed and amped up their stuff during that time.
Look at Travis. Travis went from being a Jim Lee clone to being, far surpassing Jim.
Yeah. Travis, yeah.
You guys ever pay attention to a guy named Robson Roca?
No.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah. I know who you're talking about. Yeah,
That guy's a monster.
yeah.
What did he do?
Good gesture stuff. He works for DC on a lot of things, right?
Yeah, he did some stuff. He did Aquaman for a while, but it wasn't as good as his normal. Before he did that, he did something else. I can't remember what it was, but he was killing it. I was just, yeah. I can't even begin. That stuff is just gorgeous. But yeah, I think there is definitely that. I will say that as a young comic fan and a young artist, when I saw that stuff from the 90s, it was definitely.
And Elliot's.
Did Ellie get muted?
No, he locked up.
Froze.
They're locked up. Oh,
He is frozen. The internet did not like what Elliot was
Frozen in time. I thought it was just me. I was like, oh no, did my computer just, did my Wi-Fi just go out on me?
No.
It's only Elliot.
Is that a T-square, Kevin?
yes, sir.
I have that T-square, except the end of mine is broken.
Yeah,
I need to get one.
man. I go through T-squares like crazy.
I need to get one, dude, because I've been doing it the old school way where I measure it out by hand each, like make sure of it, and just use a ruler.
I've got a small working space, so I've been begging for a metal version of these, and I can't. Where I live, I can't find anything like that.
Whoa.
Like a 12-inch T-square that's metal. And so all we get is the plastic ones, and the plastic ones break so easy, man. It's so frustrating.
But it's cool. You can see through it to do your line, so that's kind of a plus too, though, right?
Yeah.
Because I have metal rulers, but I use them mostly for cutting stuff. But I love the plastic ones because I can see through and see my.
That's why you
art.
get the plastic one with the metal edge.
Whoa!
With the metal edge.
And it's also good for home defense.
I've never seen those. We don't have them now.
It's got a stainless steel edge on it.
Wow.
It's got rubber grommets to keep it from sliding on your page.
Oh, I've never seen that.
So
That's crazy.
That's why I put quills up against this, and it's smooth. Because when you're using this, and you once in a while you get a nick in it or something, and then you're done. You can't ever use that ruler.
Oh yeah, right? I got that where it's all wobbly.
Yep.
Yeah. But this metal edge, I can take this metal here and just clean off any ink or anything that gets gunked on it. It's perfectly smooth always.
Sweet.
Have you ever hit a red wall? Ray Thulu says.
You're gonna have to send me your supplier, man. Let me know where you get yours from.
Blix?
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Did you get it Blix? Is it Blix, Mike?
This? No, I got this at Tokyo Central.
Oh, Tokyo Central.
Yeah.
What? They have one out here? I didn't
Come on,
know that.
Matt.
I thought there was one I went to in Vegas. I didn't know they had one out here.
You know where Madokai is?
Yeah.
It's right next. It's in that shopping center.
Oh, inside?
No. Madokai is on the corner of Balboa and that Frontage Road, right?
That's the new name of it. That's the new name. It used to be Marokai, and they changed it to Tokyo Central.
Yeah, it was Madokai Home. No.
It was the dollar store before. It was a Marokai dollar store.
Dollar store, yeah, but now it's Tokyo Central.
Oh,
and
okay, they have it there.
Yeah, that's where
They're pricey though, man. Their stuff's pricey. I bought some pencils and erasers there.
You don't have to buy it once, man.
That's true.
Granted, two of my rubber grommets have come off, so I abuse my tools a little bit.
Are you sure it wasn't eaten off?
Hi, Elliot.
Elliot's back.
I guess my computer was mad at me. It didn't want to talk to me anymore. It's like, shut up.
Oh no.
It happens. What are you gonna do? Yeah.
Elliot is back though. Cool.
Guess who's back?
But
it's back.
It is 3:00 in the morning over here.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna wrap this up too. It's been 3 hours, and I really hate what I'm doing with this piece. I was gonna work on the cat and mouse, but it looks like something I'd have drawn in this thinking 80s. So
the 90s we were talking about. That means it's awesome.
Crap. I will try again some other time. So I'm gonna wrap it up. Everybody go out and get maga7.com. I hopefully will be sending the files to the printer not this week. This week's over today. Next week, starting, I don't know, sometime next week. Anyways, get that, like, subscribe, share if you have not already. Let a friend know about this channel if you want to, please. Matt Cossin, how people get a hold of
you can get a hold of me on Instagram or Twitter or YouTube, and under Matt Cossin. And this is a commission piece I'm finishing up tonight, and it's overdue. I gotta give it to the rightful owner, but I'm doing it's from Street Fighter. It's Rose. Yeah, Rose.
Yep.
Right.
Very nice.
All right. And you can follow Matt Cossin
at Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter. Yeah.
All right.
But yeah, thanks, guys.
You got it. Hey, Sharp.
Hey. You guys, I want to say bye to everybody out there in Chatland, and check me out on KevHulk73 at Instagram, KevHulk73 on Twitter, and I have this little book called Dragon Guard. It's a fantasy comic. It's a homage to the 80s cartoons, and it's on Indiegogo right now in demand. So please check that out. There's lots of great perks there by art and things like that. And we will check you soon. So I want to say thanks to Mike for having me back on tonight.
And Elliot, I'm going to let you wrap this show up, my friend.
Very well. Whatever you do. I said it the wrong way. I couldn't finish it. Anyway, you can follow me on all kinds of social media, but really it's only in a couple of places. Really, it's only one on Instagram and sometimes here on Mike's channel. But otherwise, I'm gearing up for my new day job, hoping that that will create some new consistency for me, and I'll be able to come back to you guys with a better schedule on what I'm producing for Doom Kicker. Otherwise, I'm still working on commissions and stuff to pay some bills where I can. And this is just a sketchbook I'm starting here. Just want to fill it in with some stuff just for fun. I hope you guys enjoy this kind of stuff. I do a lot of this kind of stuff over on Instagram. Otherwise, leave me alone. I don't want to talk to y'all.
And I guess that's how we're closing out the store. Leave me alone. I don't want to talk to you no more. God bless everybody.
God bless. Have a good night.